Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's here. It's a DTM Esports finale. I've brought the pink out. My name's Luke Crane. I'm joined by Connery Maddock. Connery, I'm excited, but how are you feeling for this one?
I'm feeling incredibly pumped for this one. It's not often that we get to final races of the season. They're hard to come by. There's so few of them, so it's always exciting when we get one. And to have one with the caliber of drivers that we have here in the DTM Championship is all the more exciting. We see the battle between Siggy and Lona once again, and see who gets inside that top 5 as well.
Yeah, 100%. I feel a little bit naked today. I accidentally trimmed my beard too short, so that's why the beard's gone. So I look like a baby. It's horrendous. Look, it's been the stars of the show really have been Moritz Lerner and Kevin Siggy, more so Kevin Siggy. The gap is huge, right, between the two of them. It's very unlikely that Moritz Lerner could go out there and get the victory, but it is super close for that top 5. That's what it's all about, right? DTM Esports Champion, but then also if you get in the top 5, you will be heading to the Lausitz Ring. There will be a sighting event, and they will choose the best candidate to win the prize, which is the 2023 seat in the DTM trophy. But let's have a look at today's format then for you this evening. Lots of action taking place here. We've got free practice, which is currently happening right now, and then the stream starts. Well, if you can hear me, you know that's already happened. Qualifying 1 then for race number 1, which is a sprint race, a 15-minute race. No pit stops, nothing like that. Then we do indeed have qualifying 2, which is 10 minutes, and then an endurance race, which is 60 minutes long with a 30-minute pit window in the middle. So that means these drivers do indeed have to come into the pits. We are at Portimão this week, and that's exactly where DTM is this weekend as well for the first round of their championship. So very, very exciting. But anyway, enough of me. We are now going to have a look at DTM Esports in 60 seconds. So for the finale, we are heading to Portimão. Oh, baby. What a track. 4,653 meters, not kilometers, just meters. 16 challenging turns, including this little tabletop along the start finish straight. We've got ourselves a Moritz Lerner versus Kevin Siggy finale here. It's a big gap, Kevin Siggy with the advantage. Can Moritz Lerner go 2 for 2, though, our current champion? During this season, we've had 29 different sim races from 10 different countries, representing 16 different esports teams. And with all of those teams being as close as they are, you expect to see some penalties and indeed some protests. We have 50 in total, 27 penalties have indeed been issued so far this season. You may be watching on YouTube right now, but they are also going to be watched on 3 different TV stations around the world. Well, there you go. Lots of facts there to indeed divulge and get excited for. Connery, I don't know about you, but I've sometimes received tweets from people going, I'm watching from Australia. It's on my national television channel. And I didn't know that. I just figured we're on YouTube and stuff. So it's quite bananas how many people have actually watched this series this season. And they've been spoilt, really, because the level has been incredible.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy how far the reach is sometimes, you know, not just of motorsport, but esports in general. And, of course, the combination that we're doing here today as well. So hello, everyone who might be watching on insert TV channel in your country of choice here. It's fantastic to have you. Of course, you do miss out slightly in terms of the interaction that we have with the chats and the live streams and whatever, but I'm sure you're getting a fantastic product as well. But yeah, it's great to see everyone getting themselves engaged in this, and well, let's hope and expect to see a fantastic championship finale.
With DTM, we have 5 pillars in terms of the way we're moving forward. We have, of course, DTM, we have DTM Trophy, DTM Electric, we have DTM Classic, and, of course, what we're watching right now, DTM Esports. And, well, the boss man, we're going to hear from him now. We've got an interview with Martin Tomczyk.
The DTM Esports season 2022 comes to an end, to a very nice end, because actually I followed every single race so far. It was for me great to see tough and hard and fair racing, obviously, and you guys, you are the heroes there. And it's nice now to have the best 5 of you, because the best 5 of you will join our bootcamp for next year's DTM trophy seat. So fasten your seatbelt, if I can say that, and I'm looking forward for the final race now in Portimão. The DTM Esports series is a very important one for us. Obviously, we are still trying to improve, to make it bigger. Now our next step will be to have a new trailer with a lot of sim rigs at the live event, at the racetracks all around Europe. So obviously we are trying to keep growing, and you guys actually are the main part to support us, because whatever you did so far behind the sim steering wheel was great and helps us just to continue the story of success. Well, the best 5 of you will join the boot camp to get a seat in the DTM Trophy Season 2023. And how close the sim racing is to real racing, I guess the best example is Moritz Löhner, who was driving already last year and even jumped on podiums in the DTM Trophy season. He's joining as well this year as a real race driver, but as well as a sim race driver. So I think he's the best example to get you guys an idea how close sim racing is to real racing. Yeah, finally the DTM season 2022 starts, and actually here in Portimão, and where you have the final race of the Esports Championship. I'm really looking forward for the DTM season. We have 29 cars from 14 nation drivers. We have 6 brands. It can't be better. And actually, we already had some tests here in Portimão, and it's just awesome to see 29 cars running down the straights. So if you want to join, please check in live on TV or even come down to Portimão. I'm looking forward for you, and enjoy the race.
What a smoke show of a human being he is. And you can just tell how excited he is for the future of DTM, introducing this esports pillar as well, which is always exciting. Well, we're heading to Portimão today. Again, that's where DTM are this weekend. We are going to have a little look now at a track guide from Danny Guisa.
Hello, welcome here to the DTM Esports Championship Final 2022 in Portimão. My name is Danny Guisa. I'm the DNLS champion of 2022 with Mercedes-AMG HRT. And I think we should go ahead and drive a lap around this beautiful roller coasting track in Portugal. So we're approaching the start-finish straight at the last turn, which is really high-speed corner. Lots of understeer when you take too much speed into the corner. And now down the start-finish straight, which is roughly 960 meters long. Portimão is roughly 4.7 kilometers with 16 corners, 9 right-hand sides, and 7 left-hand side. Downhill braking to the first turn, 4th gear. Don't take too much speed into the corner, otherwise you're getting track limit issues. And then down to turn 3, hard braking, preparing for the uphill left-hand side, which is actually flat out, but you can't see the exit curb, which is sometimes very, very tricky, especially in rain. So we're approaching now turn 4, which is the first really good passing opportunity. Here you can maximize the entry on the right-hand side with the curb, but be patient on the throttle, otherwise you lose much speed out of the corner, where you can go with a crisscross when somebody is well prepared for the corner. Then 4 is actually really, 5 is really flat, 6 is a preparation for 7, so please don't go too hard into this one. Turn 7 is uphill. You can't see actually the exit curb, and it feels more like a roller coaster than compared to a racing track, but that's the fun of Portimão. So we're going up into 8, which is flat, is 4th gear, and then 10 and 11, which is really hard on the brake because you can't see actually the apex is really, really late. So basically you need to nail down so many laps to get here the right flow. Then 11, 12, and 12 is really hard. The car really understeers when you take too much damage and then speed. And then when you go into the last 2 corners, which is not barely perfect here from my side, but you need to be very tight on the entry. And then we're coming back to the last turn, and you're there, you need to maximize the run into the corner, stay right to the curb, and then flat out. And the car wants to understeer off the track, but we made it perfectly on the right, on the left. And this was actually one beautiful lap at the Portimão racing track, and you will see racing right now here in the DTM Esports Championship final at Portimão.
So there we have it. For me, it feels like all the formalities are out of the way now. We're all excited. We're all here for the racing action. Just a couple of bits to go before we get there. Let's check out then the championship standings as it stands, and then we are going to find out exactly how we got to this point. So this is how close it is right now. We've got Kevin Siggy on 380 points then, leading the way by 54 points. So it's going to be tough here. Again, with the DTM Esports allocation here, 40 points for a win. Basically, Moritz needs Kevin Siggy to have a DNF today at a minimum, and then potentially have a terrible second race. So that's what's really going to be needed there for Moritz Lohner to become a two-time DTM Esports champion. But it is a finale. Anything is possible. Then we've got Florian Hasser on 234 points, but he's got a 30-point buffer. Actually, a little bit more than that, hasn't he? He's got about a 43-point buffer over... Oh, sorry, not even that. It's 37. So 37-point buffer over Leonard Krippner. Krippner is only just behind Ottaviani. Remember, the top 5 in this championship will indeed advance to the sighting event at the Lausitzring in a few weeks' time. So right now, Leonard Krippner is the one that is trying to get himself into that top 5. Is Keithley too far away? I think he probably is, unless he gets a couple of race victories. Is Portimão going to be the circuit for the AMG? Who knows? I guess we'll find out very, very shortly. But we have indeed already had ourselves 10 races to get to this point. And let's have a look then at the road to the final. It is the DTM Esports 2022 race number 1. There are 12 in total. And who is going to set their stall here? And Siggy gets them away as they cross the line. And I tell you what, it's a phenomenal start here from Ottaviani. The DTM Esports team are in a little bit of trouble here as Lerner's actually up to P2. And indeed, Siggy, he is going to get that overlap once again here. And I think for the first time, he's got his nose just about ahead here. And I tell you what, this might be a move. It might be configured. It could be beautiful. Siggy, though, still on that inside line. The BMW with that pace advantage as we come down in towards this very fast chicane before we head down into the hairpin. And it's done. He is our champion for the DTM Esports currently. And while race 1 of 2022's version is going to go to that number 1 car for DTM Esports, is Moritz Lohner.
Through Piratello there, the left-hander, the very fast left-hander in the middle of the lap. Look at how close Lohner's overcommitted. That loses him a bit of time, and his last opportunity to get a move done into turn number 1 is coming up.
Kevin Siggy went into the pits early. What a strategy call it was. The Team Redline driver is going to take victory here in race 2 of the DTM Esports 2022. Sit off that final hairpin. We've got a great look here at Kevin Siggy. Siggy's surely going to make a dive. He does. He makes it side by side here. And is he going to run out too far off the apex? But there's contact then between Ottaviani and Finucci. Siggy does get up to P2. He was not involved in that incident whatsoever. He set it up perfectly well. But the day belongs to Hookveld. The Swede takes the victory here for RAG.
There's another attempt from Lohner. Not got the overlap this time, but he goes for the surprise move. Down the inside at turn number 1. Has he overcommitted to the exit of the corner though?
Someone who doesn't care about that is Kevin Siggy. The Team Redline driver crosses the line, takes his second win of the season, and undoubtedly will be the leader of the championship.
So Lohner's going to have another little look here around the outside this time in towards the chicane. The two teams are fighting.
Oh, it's brilliant. He's got him around the outside there. That's an unbelievable move in the championship. He's going to finish in P3, but it's all about Moritz Lohner then, the DTM trophy driver, the current DTM Esports champion, back to winning ways here at the Lausitzring for race 1.
So strong, especially on the fresher tyres that Siggy has compared to Krippner. Look at him, he's all over the back of him, and he's got a monster of a run coming out of the final corner.
The outside line is the favoured line.
Oh no!
He's actually, oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, bad day for Hookveld. A really good day though for Moritz Lohner. He is our DTM Esports current champion. He's the reigning champion, and he had a bad week last time out at the Norris Ring, but today it's a double win for Moritz Lohner. And Siggy then forces him to make the decision round the outside. Can he give us a moment to behold once again? Moritz Lohner has got the overlap here. Oh, he has got the overlap. Curb being used. All of the curb being used. Siggy on the power a little bit earlier. It is going to be Kevin Siggy that will take race 1 here today at Spa. It's a fantastic performance from him. Had to make a couple of overtakes to do so. We've got a battle for the lead. Lona then still got that nose up in front. They're door banging their way in towards the chicane here, and you can see using all of the curve on the exit is indeed Kevin Siggy. Moritz Lona though is still holding on that inside line. Round 8 is going to go the way of Kevin Siggy. Absolutely deserves it there. As we then head in towards this double left-hander, he's got to go round the outside once again here if he wants P2. What a recovery this would be. He's going to run out of grip on the outside there. Gets ushered ever so slightly wide, left the perfect amount of room. Look at Florian Hasse, he's making it difficult here. Mistake them from Kevin Siggy, gets too close, runs off circuit through the S's. So the top 5 are as they are. Lerner, Siggy, Hasse, Krippner.
And Fiducci continuing to get the lead laps logged as Siggy sticks it down the inside. Another attempt from the Team Redline Ferrari.
We will stay on board with this for the entirety of this final lap. There's a nice little battle though between... Oh no, there's a mistake here. Lona's going to be gifted a P2. And the Team Redline driver will win race 10 of the DTM Esports 2022. And surprisingly, Moritz Lona does finish in second. Fiducci is going to be absolutely gutted. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentle cars. It's been an interesting season for sure. There's been lots of high points and a couple of low points. I think it's going to come down to the Norris Ring being a bit of a bogey track for Moritz himself, for the reason why he's not really challenging Kevin Siggy, but we cannot take it away from Kevin Siggy. He has been incredible from start to finish this season. Even when he's not had the best of races, he's just scratched and clawed and managed to get into the podium there. We've only had 3 different winners this season as well. We've had, indeed, Kevin Siggy, Moritz Lona and Christopher Hugveld as our 3 different winners. Are you expecting to see anyone outside of those 3 get a win today, Connery? Is there the potential for that?
There always is. I mean, Fiducci has been pretty strong throughout the entirety of this season, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's fighting up there once again in the Ferrari, especially if this track tends to go the way of the Ferrari. We'll just have to wait and see once we get into qualifying exactly how the balance of performance between all these different manufacturers is going to stack up. But it has ebbed and flowed a little bit over the course of this season. Let's see if there's anything interesting here for this finale event at Portimão, as drivers are just about getting themselves into qualifying. And, well, there they are, Luke. It's time.
It is time. I am so pumped for this. I love my esports. I love my motorsport. A finale. I've brought the pink out, especially for the finale, as I always do. So this should prove to be very, very exciting indeed. There are going to be some team games, of course, played in terms of qualifying. Kevin Siggy's got that massive point buffer, which is the big factor. Well, really, it's down to you guys watching on Twitch right now and YouTube. If you're watching, you can hear me. I want you to let me know where you're watching from around the world and who you're supporting today. Maybe this is the first time you've ever come across esports. Just tell me who your favorite driver is in the world of motorsport, or just say hello. It's as simple as that. I will give you a shout out during this qualifying session. As you can see here, Connery, they're just still trying to get some track space as early as they possibly can. It looks like the DTM Esports team have got themselves all 4 in formation, as they usually do, relatively early around this circuit, and there are some proper slipstreaming areas, most notably out the final corner and down towards turn number 1.
Yeah, that's going to benefit the DTM Esports contingent the most out of this one. But as we've seen in qualifying sessions gone by, it doesn't necessarily give you that golden ticket to get up into pole position. Siggy, while he's been running on his own, has been doing relatively well. And of course, you know, there are a couple other teams down the order that may only have 2 members taking part in this qualifying session that also have been able to do sometimes pretty well in qualifying. So it's not a guarantee that we'll see a DTM Esports pole position here. There is Christopher Hugveld heading his way through on his own at the moment as well. So again, he's going to have a bit more of a struggle here in qualifying, but like I said, it's not a huge detriment. Yeah, drivers coming on to their first flying laps now, Luke, and well, we'll get to see how the field stacks up with against each other.
Yeah, it's almost like everyone's intimidated by the DTM Esports contingent. Like, if I was one of these drivers that really didn't have anything to lose, I would absolutely be, they're all going really slow towards that final corner. I'll just put myself in the middle of them. I don't care. Like, I want to upset the apple cart here and kind of make this as fair as possible for everybody. But yeah, it looks like the AMG that normally goes out ahead of everybody has just pulled away into turn 1, giving them the slipstream down in towards turn number 1. So expect to see one of these cars indeed be at the front there as well. Shout out then to DJ Superior, who's in the chat. We've got Bandit in the chat, Master Barmy, Laser Crab, Carrots, TDM, Oatmeal as well, you legend. Who else have we got on YouTube then? We've got Dark Lord, who's watching from India. We've got Ivan Miliov, who's watching from Bulgaria. Lonnie's from Germany, cheering on Lona. We've got indeed Eric Cardona from Mexico, and Harko from the Netherlands. Again, keep your hellos coming in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give you a shout out, and let's get a bit hyped for this, shall we? Let's get a bit excited. This is the DTM Esports. This is the finale. Top 5, remember. If we can just have a quick look at the point standings as it stands, as Moritz Lona, by the way, has gone fastest in second 1 and second 2 is first lap. I expect that to be the case for pretty much everybody. But it's Kevin Siggy that leads the way. He's comfortably in the lead here. He is more than a race victory ahead of Moritz Lona. But look at P5 and P6. Remember, we will have a DTM Esports champion today. Okay, it's more than likely going to be Kevin Siggy, but the prize is for the top 5. So the top 5 will get an all-expenses-paid trip to the Lausitz Ring, which is in a few weeks' time in the middle of May, for the DTM, and they will have a sighting event across the weekend. And then the best candidate will be chosen by the DTM crew, and they will win themselves a fully paid DTM Trophy 2023 drive all season. So pretty incredible there. As Leonard Krippner is the fastest, he's got his teammates to help him, but Siggy, who's got nobody to help him, is merely 0.02 of a second back. Siggy is absolutely here to fight for everything. He doesn't care if he's already nearly 60 points in the lead, or over 60 points in the lead. He is currently second on the grid. He's happy with that. Fiducci, another really good performance, but it is, again, BMW versus the Ferrari.
Yep, that does seem to be the case. You know, it has been the story that we've been talking about since basically the very, very start of the season. It was very evident that the balance performance was going to swing around, favouring the Ferraris and the BMWs over the course of this entire season. And, well, it's just, well, we've got a good mix up there at the moment. We've got a BMW pole position. However, we do have 2 Ferraris behind in second and third. And then we have that DTM Esports contingent of 3 BMWs down to Mark Gassner in 6th. And then we have 2 Mercedes, actually, Piska and Pfeiffer, 7th and 8th here in qualifying for the moment. But that was just the first lap times being set. Those are the banker laps, like I like to call them. Gives you a good baseline to get started in these sorts of qualifying sessions. You don't want to be panicking towards the end, not having set a time, like the names of Dinya, Rachel, Pringer, Rudinger, Price, Keithley, Vanna. They have all not set times just yet.
No, and they will. Don't worry about that. They certainly will. We have got from Dublin, Ireland, Ben Egan. How you doing, mate? Welcome. Dylan Fraser from Scotland. Nice. Watching from the Netherlands, Steph there with the question, who do you think will make it through? Me personally, I believe Kevin Siggy's obviously going to go through. He mathematically cannot not go through. Same as Moritz Lona. Florian Hasso, I think, is going to be good. He's in P3. Fiducci, I think, is good. I genuinely believe it is between P5 and P6 only. I don't think anyone else, unless Jack Keithley gets 2 wins, which would be very, very impressive stuff, but I can't really see it happening. I think it's going to be either Leonard Krippner or Otto Viani, and expect to see drivers such as Moritz Lona, if he knows he can't win the championship going into race number 2, he'll be helping out Leonard Krippner as best he possibly can. There's 7 points between P5 and P6 as it stands. So, yeah, a big opportunity here for Leonard Krippner. But of course, Otto Viani, the R8G driver, will absolutely be giving everything here, and it's in his own hands. That's the main factor here. But as it stands, he is currently in 7th spot, and Leonard Krippner, he doesn't need any help because he's pole position. So he's already going to gain 3 points as it stands. So if it stays as it is right now, Leonard Krippner would close the gap to P5 to 4 points. So it is so vital that Otto Viani finds his form here. He had an incredible start to the season, but Connery, he's kind of dropped off over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he has. Hasn't been able to compete on as a top level as he had done so in previous rounds of the season. Of course, we saw him have that fantastic fight with Fiducci at the Norris Ring at the near enough the start of the season here, and but ever since then, it's kind of not been putting up as the good results that we were expecting from him, at least in the opening parts of the season, which is okay. Sometimes you have good form for a couple of weeks, then you drop off. You know, your inverse can happen as well, so we don't judge it too much. However, to win a championship such as this one, to finish top 5 in a championship such as this one, you do need that consistency, otherwise you're going to be nowhere.
Yeah, 100%. You see Moritz Lohner there. He's got to be careful because he doesn't really want to affect somebody else's lap here because he's just peeled away and given the slipstream to another one of his drivers. So with 3 minutes, 30 seconds to go here, he's actually going to pop into the pits and then probably have a fresh set of rubber. Is he going to have time to put in another time? And I'm not sure he will. As Kevin Siggy does go out there and take pole. He's already leading the championship, but he absolutely wants to be winning this in style. He's been doing it in style pretty much the entirety of this championship, but absolutely has found that little extra bit once again. We were very momentarily was on board with Ottaviani there. He was already 0.3 of a second down on the quickest time in sector number 1. So again, not really finding that form as it stands. Where's Keithley? Is Keithley even racing today? Like, is he in the list?
There he is.
Well, there he is. He's number 44. He's not got a lap time in. So yeah, really strange to see Keithley under this kind of pressure. He will not get a time. No, he will not get a time in now. So he's done. He's absolutely done here, and he's going to start from the back. And maybe he's got a little challenge with his community or his followers or something to go last to first because he maybe feels like he can't really get into that top 5. But I find that baffling because he can. Like, if he had an amazing day today, which someone of his standard is absolutely capable of, not qualifying just makes very, very a lack of sense really to me. We saw there a couple of Arnage competition cars. I've got to forget that they're even in the race today. You Arnage people out there know exactly what I'm talking about. My shirt. Fiducci in P3 still as it stands, and will start the final attempt here as well. But yeah, it's Kevin Siggy's show. Once again, this championship's been all about him, hasn't it? And ultimately, he's dominating qualifying now because 1.5 tenths in this field is massive.
Yeah, it really is. Usually we see gaps a lot higher than that one, inside a 1/10 of a second usually between drivers in this series. So to be able to set a time that's so much faster than everyone else by that margin is certainly very impressive. We're looking at Gianmarco Fiducci at the moment. P3 on the starting grid for race 1 here. Not too bad. A little bit of a handling issue coming off the corner there with the oversteer, but able to gather it all up and continue on with his final lap. But you can see what that little moment has done. He's about, just over 1/10.5 down on Sector 1 alone.
Yeah, 100%. If anybody wants to indeed get involved, who's watching on television potentially, because we are talking to people who are watching over on Twitch and indeed on YouTube. If you're watching on television right now and you have Twitter, use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. And maybe you've got some questions you want answered. Yeah, absolutely get yourself involved in that. I will keep refreshing the Twitter page and we'll have a nice little conversation. Shout out to Sacer as well. Welcome to the broadcast. Again, if you want to just say hello, get involved. Absolutely get yourselves involved here. We always like to shout out everybody who's watching. Steph Kremers has just said apparently Jack Keithley's got a qualifying ban today. So that's why. Information that we didn't get told, Connery. So yeah, luckily we've got someone more in the know than we are in the chat right now, but apparently Keithley did indeed post that onto his Instagram earlier on. So yeah, always worth going out and following these drivers. Starting grid as it stands, is anybody going to improve? They may do, but as it stands then with about 30 seconds to go, Kevin Siggy is on pole position. Leonard Krippner in second, needs a big day today. Already would have closed the gap by 2 points then to Ottaviani, although Ottaviani has absolutely done what he needed to do. He's in P4. We could legitimately, I'm not going to mention everybody else here, because we could legitimately see Ottaviani versus Krippner side by side on the track here, battling for that final qualifying position. So again, the championship lead for Kevin Siggy over Moritz Lohner is quite a considerable gap. I'm not going to treat you like you're stupid at home. It's very unlikely that that deficit is going to be overturned there by Moritz Lohner, unless Siggy has a terrible day. But yeah, it really is about Alessandro Ottaviani and Leonard Krippner, P5 and P6 in the championship. Oh, it's set up pretty nicely here, Connery.
Yeah, I think so too. That's that was a very welcome surprise there in qualifying. Usually we would see Krippner, Ottaviani just that little bit further away from each other out on circuit. At least that has been the trend so far this season. But to see those drivers that are on the bubble, so to speak, to get themselves that chance to compete in the boot camp, to potentially at some point in the future get themselves a drive in the DTM trophy in the real world, next season, that is an absolutely impressive thing to happen, and I can't wait to see what these guys have to show for us here in the race, because, well, Krippner, of course, he does have a lot more friends on circuit, shall we say, than Ottaviani, but, we've seen that not count for much before, have we?
Yeah, that is very, very true. And maybe you've just tuned in, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe throw you under the bus here a little bit, Connery. But let's have a road to the final video here while we do indeed have this warm-up, so you guys can see exactly how we got to this point at Portimão. It is the DTM Esports 2022 race number 1. There are 12 in total, and who is going to set their stall here? And Siggy gets them away as they cross the line, and I tell you what, it's a phenomenal start here from Ottaviani. The DTM Esports team are in a little bit of trouble here as Lerner's actually up to P2, and indeed Siggy, he is going to get that overlap once again here, and I think for the first time he's got his nose just about ahead here, and I tell you what, this might be a move, it might be configured, it could be beautiful. Siggy though, still on that inside line, the BMW with that pace advantage as we come down in towards this very fast chicane before we head down into the hairpin, and it's done. He is our champion for the DTM Esports currently. And while race 1 of 2022's version is going to go to that number 1 car for DTM Esports, it's Moritz Lerner.
Through Piratella there, the left-hander, the very fast left-hander in the middle of the lap. Look at how close Lerner's overcommitted. That loses him a bit of time, and his last opportunity to get a move done into turn number 1 is coming up.
Kevin Siggy went into the pits early. What a strategy call it was. The Team Redline driver is going to take victory here in race 2 of the DTM Esports 2022. Sit of that final hairpin. We've got a great look here at Kevin Siggy. Siggy's surely going to make a dive. He does. He makes it side by side here. And is he going to run out too far off the apex? Well, there's contact then between Ottaviani and Fiducci. Siggy does get up to P2. He was not involved in that incident whatsoever. He set it up perfectly well. But the day belongs to Hookveld. The Swede takes the victory here for RAG.
There's another attempt from Lerner, not got the overlap this time, but he goes for the surprise move down the inside at turn number 1. Has he overcommitted to the exit of the corner though?
Someone who doesn't care about that is Kevin Siggy. The Team Redline driver crosses the line, takes his second win of the season, and undoubtedly will be the leader of the championship.
So Lerner's going to have another little look here around the outside this time in towards the chicane. The two teams are fighting.
Oh, it's brilliant. He's got him around the outside there. That's an unbelievable move in the championship. He's going to finish in P3, but it's all about Moritz Lerner then, the DTM trophy driver, the current DTM Esports champion, back to winning ways here at the Lausitz Ring for race 1.
So strong, especially on the fresher tyres that Siggy has compared to Kripner. Look at him, he's all over the back of him, and he's got a monster of a run coming out of the final corner.
The outside line is the favoured line.
Oh no!
He's actually, oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, bad day for Hookveld. A really good day though for Moritz Lerner. He is our DTM Esports current champion. He's the reigning champion, and he had a bad week last time out at the Norris Ring, but today is a double win for Moritz Lerner. And Siggy then forces him to make the decision round the outside. Can he give us a moment to behold once again? Moritz Lerner has got the overlap here. Oh, he has got the overlap. Curb being used. All of the curb being used. Siggy on the power a little bit earlier. It is going to be Kevin Siggy that will take race 1 here today at Spa. It's a fantastic performance from him. Had to make a couple of overtakes to do so. We've got a battle for the lead. Lerner then still got that nose up in front. They're door banging their way in towards the chicane here, and you can see using all of the curb on the exit is indeed Kevin Siggy. Moritz Lerner though is still holding on that inside line. Round 8 is going to go the way of Kevin Siggy. Absolutely deserves it there. As we then head in towards this double left-hander, he's got to go round the outside once again here if he wants P2. What a recovery this would be. He's going to run out of grip on the outside there. Gets ushered ever so slightly wide, left the perfect amount of room. Look at Florian Hasse, he's making it difficult here. Mistake then from Kevin Siggy, gets too close, runs off circuit through the S's. So the top 5 are as they are. Lerner, Siggy, Hasse, Kripner.
And Fiducci continuing to get the lead laps logged as Siggy sticks it down the inside. Another attempt from the Team Redline Ferrari.
We will stay on board with this for the entirety of this final lap. There's a nice little battle though between... Oh no, there's a mistake here. Lerner's going to be gifted a P2. The Team Redline driver will win race 10 of the DTM Esports 2022. And surprisingly, Moritz Lerner does finish in second. Fiducci is going to be absolutely gutted. Well, there you go. That is how we got to this point, and now it's all about how this championship ends. It is indeed very hotly contested between our top two, and Kevin Siggy, actually, with that pole position, has extended his championship lead. And, well, with Moritz Lohner, is absolutely not going to be, he's not going to be gaining any points for that qualifying as it stands. So I think Kevin Siggy right now, who was 54 points coming into it, is actually now 57 points clear going into race number 2. We've then got Krippner, who has gained 2 points on Ottaviani. So now there's a 5-point difference between Alessandro Ottaviani and Leonard Krippner. Ottaviani starts 4th, Krippner starts in 2nd spot. It's really between those two for the top 5. So remember, the driver that wins this championship will be our DTM Esports champion. That is a huge accolade. Of course, you cannot take a championship away, but the prize is for the top 5 drivers. They will go to a sighting event at the Lausitz Ring in a couple of weeks' time, and the best candidate chosen by the DTM personnel will win themselves a fully paid-for seat in the DTM Trophy 2023, a full season. So, yeah, a lot to play for here. Just get yourself into that top 5. If you're Moritz Lohner, if you're Kevin Siggy, just go out there and make sure that you do indeed win it. We're waiting for them all to grid up here. 20 seconds to go. Connery, predictions. Is it going to be the Kevin Siggy show, or are we going to see a surprise sprung here at Portimão?
Well, Siggy definitely has the potential to try and run away with this one, especially with the qualifying performance that he was able to put up. So I think all the action is going to be happening behind him. I'm super excited for a potential Ottaviani-Krippner battle. That one is going to be absolutely crazy. There's one car separating them at the moment in the form of Fiducci, but I think that's going to be the main area that we're going to have to be looking at here today, because I don't think Siggy and Lohner are going to really get close enough to each other to be able to make any mark in terms of championship is concerned. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to Krippner versus Ottaviani.
Very interesting here. We've got a bit of a different start here. They're doing a full lap. Normally they just sort of shoot backwards a little bit, don't they? And start. Oh no, they do a full lap every time, actually. What am I talking about? I'm talking about my own championships here. I'm getting confused. So they do a full formation lap like this. So they will indeed line up side by side. Leonard Krippner in that BMW in 2nd spot. Could he potentially go out there and fight Siggy? Does he really want to be fighting Siggy? Probably not. Just finishing ahead of Ottaviani here twice will more than likely guarantee him passage through to the top 5. Fiducci, P3, again, he's in P4 currently in the championship, so it might be worth just taking a quick look actually at this championship, just to give you all the picture of exactly what could go down, what is going to happen. Again, Kevin Siggy is now 57 points clear due to 3 points for qualifying on P1, so he's clear of Moritz Lohner, and it's almost impossible for Lohner to really overturn that deficit. But, you know, stranger things have happened in motorsport or indeed sim racing. Florian Hasse then is on 234. Again, if he has a terrible day today, Gianmarco Fiducci, Ottaviani, maybe they could catch up to him. Who knows? But again, just keep yourself maybe in that top 6, top 7 bracket for 2 races. You're more than likely going to be absolutely fine. Leonard Krippner, though, he is the one. He's already closed that gap. He's on 199 points now, whereas Ottaviani is on 204. It's 5 points the difference between the two of them. And, well, currently there's a position between them. They're 2nd and 4th on our grid. If we just quickly check out the actual point system here as well. So just to tell you, if it was to finish as it is, which is very unlikely, 34 points will head the way to indeed Krippner, and 27 points would head the way of Ottaviani. So that's a difference there of 7 points. That means going into the next race, Krippner would actually be 2 points clear. Here we go then, still on the formation lap. Hopefully I have set that up nicely for you all to understand what is exactly going to go down. You can see the tabletop there across the start finish. This is race number 11 then of 12 of the season. It's the DTM Esports 2022. We're here at Portimão for the first of 2 finale races. It's Kevin Siggy on pole in that Ferrari on the right-hand side of your screen. It's Krippner in 2nd. We're waiting for the green lights to pop up on our screens, and we are green light racing here. Green flag, indeed, up and away here, and it's a great start there from Kevin Siggy, championship leader. And as you can see here, Fiducci and Ottaviani are both trying to challenge then for that 2nd position. Neither of them get through. Fiducci with that Fordzilla car runs ever so slightly wide here, and I'll tell you what, Ottaviani is actually maybe going to get mugged off here by the likes of Moritz Lohner. Moritz Lohner knows he has to go out there and win this race at a minimum, so he is obviously going to put that pressure on. And Ottaviani then is not good from him, but ultimately we've also seen Fiducci grab a position here. So Leonard Krippner has dropped the spot, as has Ottaviani. Ottaviani, though, up the inside of the hairpin, side by side then with Moritz Lohner. Doesn't quite get a power down as early as the BMW. Has the inside line then for the kink here, but we'll have the outside line then for this double apex right-hander. This should have Moritz Lohner the position for P4. He's got to try and hang around the outside. Again, don't worry about tyres in this race. You do not need to be worried about it. It's only 15 minutes long. But as it stands, it's still side by side between them. Almost 3 wide here, Connery. What a start.
This battle is crazy between Ottaviani and, well, Moritz Lohner. Lohner keeping himself ahead. For now, there's someone off in the background. Vermeulen's out into the gravel. Doesn't take any casualties with him in that case, so everyone's still clean and running through. But it does mean that Moritz Lohner able to secure himself ahead of Ottaviani.
Krippner's behind Ottaviani. Sorry, Krippner's behind Ottaviani here. So this is perfect for him. What's happened here? How did he drop down? But right now, Leonard Krippner, then it was 2 positions ahead and needs to finish ahead of Ottaviani, is now behind him. So it's all in Ottaviani's hands here in race number 1. It's a terrible race start here on lap 1 here for Leonard Krippner, currently 6th in the championship, had indeed made the gap to 5 points between him and Ottaviani. But as we cross the line for lap number 1, it's Siggy, Fiducci, the 2 Ferraris off into the distance. Fiducci looks absolutely rapid right now. Lohner is up to P3. Oh, contact between Krippner and Ottaviani. Oh, that is not ideal here at all. Krippner, I think, is going to allow him the position. Oh, the rejoin's horrendous here. The 2, oh, it's going to be here again. 3 bits of contact in a row between the 2 drivers. Ottaviani is indeed going to continue, but you dissect that there, Connery. We will not see a replay, unfortunately, of that, but that was, well, horrendous on all parts.
Yeah, absolutely. Ottaviani, of course, contact from behind, coming down into the corner. But the rejoin, like you said, I'm famous for calling them out, I suppose, here, Luke. That was one of the worst ones that I've seen. Swinging back onto circuit, completely clattering. I think it was Florian Hasse, sending him into a spin, and he was only going on one trajectory up across the curb there, straight back into traffic and causing a whole bunch of carnage. Nothing that Hasse could have done about that. That was all Ottaviani with the awful rejoin on the circuit. The reason why he was put in that position, yes, that wasn't his fault from the contact from behind, but you can control your own car when it comes back onto circuit when you're not in a slide or backwards.
Yeah, 100% there again. It's a tough split-second decision you've got to make. But if he doesn't rejoin silly there, doesn't create any contact, he's not going to gain any penalties for a fact, because he's not done anything wrong. And more than likely, Leonard Krippner would be in a little bit of trouble. Hold on, has Krippner managed to stay P6? Hold on,
yeah.
How was that worked out here? So who was he? Was that not even Krippner that was involved the whole time there then?
It was.
Have I got this completely wrong?
It was Krippner getting into the back of Ottaviani, but Ottaviani came back onto track into Hasse.
Right, okay,
yeah.
Now it makes sense. Hasse's P20 now. Right, okay, so I thought that Leonard Krippner had dropped all the way down there. I think they're both going to be in for a penalty, to be completely honest there. Realistically, Ottaviani probably should have made a decision to not rejoin, well, sillily. I know he's going to get funny like that. He will post in one of the chats because he likes to watch these back and stuff, and he'll be like, oh, they've called me out again. It wasn't very good, mate. I hate to break it to you. But on the flip side, yeah, so he should have just rejoined. Look, take your medicine. You know you're going to be behind Krippner, but Krippner would more than likely receive a penalty himself for putting Ottaviani in that position. I guess it's tough to make those split-second decisions, you know, with the amount of time you've got available. Keith Lee, by the way, with that qualifying ban, up to P19, P18 is battling in the background there with Wanner as well. Nice to see those two both going at it here. Again, see Keith Lee with that cheesy grin on himself. But yeah, right now, it's in Krippner's hands. We're not going to find out about penalties and stuff. Well, I guess we will find out about penalties during this, but as it stands, Krippner is ahead. He's got it. He's going to indeed close the gap. Again, looking at the points here, P5 gets 24, P6 gets 22. So let's just, hypothetically, sorry, it was P6 and P7, 22 and 20. So hypothetically, as it stands right now, it will be a 2-point race in the final race of the season between the two of them. So there'll be 2 points separating Ottaviani and Leonard Krippner going into the final race. So Ottaviani would still hold the advantage.
Yeah, he would. Of course, Race Control, they will be updating a little spreadsheet that we've been given so that we can sort of keep track of the points as these races go on. They haven't put in any updates to the sprint race just yet, but we do expect to see that perhaps in a handful of minutes' time, just to give us a little bit of a better picture as to what's going on in terms of those points, even with all the incidents that we've seen in this race so far. Of course, that does not include any potential penalties that might happen, I'll have to add, and so that's that's pre-warning you of the point situation there. But yeah, for right now, well, it's undoubtable that Kevin Siggy still leads the championship by an even wider margin than he did coming into this one. It's all about who finishes inside that top 5, though. That's the main concern today.
Yeah, 100%. And Fiducci, he is not going to attack Siggy. I would very much doubt. It's kind of, he doesn't need to. The only thing that really could mess up his day here is if he gets involved in something where he doesn't need to, and he ends up facing the wrong way and loses a load of positions here. So just keep yourself in that spot. You're golden. Don't need to be, putting any unneeded pressure on, and then we'll see who allows this ring. It really is as simple as that. And then as for Moritz Lohner, it looks like we're going to see him at the Lausitz ring for sure, as well as Kevin Siggy. Lohner has to beat Siggy. It's not close enough here. Siggy's got too much pace. Only 9 minutes left to go in this race. Unless Siggy, which we saw at the Norris ring, make a mistake. Oh, she made a little bit of a mistake there, actually. Going in towards the second to last corner, did Kevin Siggy. Looks like Fiduci's not been able to take advantage of that. They've got their Max Pfeiffer, who was, for me, my driver of the day last time round, and he really has hit form at the right time as well. P4. He probably would have been, maybe he's just figured something out, because he wasn't really up and in amongst it at the start of the season. Now, last week and this week, really come to the forefront. So good to see Max still up there in P4. And then we've got the Isaac Price, who always seems to be in amongst it somewhere. He's currently in P5. But then we've got that Kripner Ottaviani battle. So it might be just, again, worth just keeping an eye on the Ottaviani Kripner battle. That's the main battle we need to be looking at today, to be honest with you. And yeah, it's a case of Ottaviani is going to still lead in the terms of the top 5 battle. He will be 5th position in the championship going into the final race, but would have been chipped away at, and that sets us up beautifully well for indeed the final race.
It really does. It really does. So, do you think the penalties are going to be equal here? Because we're expecting both of them to get a penalty. However, I would say the severity of Ottaviani's incident was much worse than what Kripner did to Ottaviani. So, if I had to put my steward's hat on, no one should ever give me such a hat, by the way, because many reasons. But if I am, then I would give a harsher penalty to Ottaviani than Kripner. So that might then influence how this whole point situation changes later on as well.
But then you've got to factor in Ottaviani was in that position because of the first incident. So again, I'm not a steward. I don't ever want to be a steward. Please just leave me alone.
Neither of us want the steward's hat. That's all I'm saying.
No. Well, my hair's too good for that, and we don't want to be ruining your locks either. They've been grown out beautifully well, so we don't need that. But yeah, for me, we'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure whether we're going to see it during the race or afterwards. Hopefully it should be figured out during the race here. Again, maybe you've got a bit more information on that, as we see Michael Raschel being overtaken there by Peter Piska.
Yeah, so both Mercedes doing battle here. It's a handful. Oh, Raschel's going to get pushed all the way to the pit wall there by Pliska. Pliska getting the elbows out. And, well, through turn number 1, Pliska is still able to hold on to that position. Raschel get a good run through the corner here. Might be able to make a challenge in through this first sector, right on his back bumper. Well, that was crazy there for Raschel. He was given cars with the space on the inside, up against the pit wall, and no more.
Yeah, well, Pliska's got a reputation for that kind of driving, so it shouldn't be too surprised if you're Michael Raschel there, really. And at this stage in the competition, everyone's going to be fighting for every single inch of track there. It doesn't matter whether you're battling for P1 or whether you're battling for P12 or P11, as we're battling for right now. They've also got Luciano Whitford just in behind as well. This should be very spicy indeed.
Should be. Luciano Wittvoet, the only Dutch driver in this race. And, well, doing okay out there. P13 is not too bad whatsoever. So that's, that's what I would call a decent result for Luciano Wittvoet. Of course, he's always looking to try and improve positions here down through the order. He has quite a few cars for the taking as well, potentially, as we look back towards the train going off for P3 at the moment, headed up by Moritz Lohner, second place in the championship, then Max Pfeiffer, Isaac Price, then Leonard Kripner further behind. By the way, though, Ottaviani has kind of fallen off the back of Kripner a little bit here. You can see there's a definite split in the middle of that train. So Ottaviani's at risk of losing the slipstream to Kripner here, which is not going to help his situation.
Yeah, it is what it is. You can just... I think that Ottaviani may have damage, first and foremost, from the contacts he's had there with Leonard Kripner. And Lona, I have no idea why he's off the pace here. It seems like the Ferrari is the car of choice around here. But Ottaviani, if he loses one more position here, ultimately it will go down to a tie. Or it might be 1 point, so it might be 1 point between him and Krippner going into that final race. This is beautifully poised for us here today, but Ottaviani needs to get a move on.
Yeah, he really does. And, well, you know, he has another race to get this done as well, remember. He has the endurance race coming up, which is a different kettle of fish, because you do have that scheduled stop to think about. Careful of getting the back end out there. If he does that during the endurance race, that's going to be a bit of a bigger problem, because you do want to try and conserve your tyre life a little bit in that endurance race, given the much longer stints than what we see in this sprint race. But yeah, that second race, you know, it has the potential to change things quite a bit, just due to how you can play around a little bit with that strategy.
Got Hugveld here looking to maybe make a move here on Pinches. This is really going to help Ottaviani. Ottaviani just needs these two behind, just to battle, just to give him a bit of breathing space. Only a few laps remain of this race here. And actually, as they come across the line, it's probably going to be 2 laps left. Could be close, potentially for 3. Again, we'll find out when we find out. It's like a game. It's like a lottery every week. We don't know exactly how many laps are going to be left because we don't know when they're going to cross the line. So yeah, it really is. This is good. Hugveld and Pinches battling does just give a little bit of respite then for Ottaviani. Although Pinches very much just gapped here, Hugveld. So it looks like the Ferrari again. To be fair, the Ferrari is also Hugveld in behind as well. As 3 Ferraris here. It just looks like Ottaviani maybe a little bit ghosted by what's happened earlier on in this race. He just lost his rhythm completely here, and it's almost the case of I just need to get to the finish here in P7, make sure that I'm in and amongst the championship running for the next race, or at least be ahead going into the next race, because then you know your destiny's in your own hands. Yeah. Again, very interesting to see how this goes down.
Yeah, it will be, but the thing that's going to be working out in Ottaviani's favour here is that you do get another qualification session for that second race. There's no reverse grid system here in this DTM Esports 2022 season. So you do get a fresh slate, so to speak, when it comes to your starting position for race 2. So even if you have a terrible sprint race, that's not going to affect the race a little bit later on, apart from, like you said, psychologically, in which case, you know, drivers deal with that in very different ways sometimes. But for Ottaviani, as long as he doesn't lose any more positions and comes across the line in that 7th place, he still has a chance coming into that endurance race to make sure that he's able to get the points gap over Krippner. But he has made it a little bit tougher for himself, and of course we still have to consider the penalties as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely in his own hands still. I think it will be in his own hands, to be honest, as we will have 2 more laps remaining. But looks, where's Siggy? Yeah, Siggy's just crossed the line now. So 2 more laps remain of this race here. Fiducci, would he maybe go for a P1 here? I definitely feel like he's got the pace to potentially go out there and win this season. Showed it last week and showing it right now. He just doesn't need to. That's the only worry for me, that he just doesn't need to. Unless Siggy is put under severe pressure here and he just gets out of the way. This is going to indeed give Siggy the championship here, by the way, just to let everybody know. So he will become our DTM Esports 2022 champion, regardless if he finishes in 2nd, or indeed he could probably go down to 7th spot at this stage of the race, and Lona finishes in 2nd and he's still good to go. So yeah, this is the race that Kevin Siggy needed. He's also absolutely going to do it in style, as you would expect from him. He's such a superstar of a racer. So we've now got Whitfoot under, well, he's in behind Rachel now, so Whitfoot in amongst it here with Attila Digne in behind as well. Very closely battling here. I'm sure we're going to see some contact between them all before the end here. It's kind of like the last day of school where you don't really learn anything, do you? You just turn up and you just want to go there and burn your ties and laugh at your mates and do all sorts of crazy stuff. My last day of school was, I don't know, a long time ago, nearly 20 years ago. So to be fair, it may be a lot different these days, who knows?
Yeah, I'm just thinking that I thought mine wasn't too long ago either, but then again, I've completely finished university about 2 years ago, so it's like, yeah. But look at this battle though. Whitfoot and Digne are just absolutely going at this one, hammer on tongs. And well, Digne's going to lose out coming off the corner a little bit here. He'll try and dart back to the outside to get a better line through the long right-handers. They descend the hill just a little bit through there in towards the final sector. But now we have had Kevin Siggy come across the line. This is going to be the start of the final lap here at Portimão for the final sprint race of the season.
Through turn 2 we go, up in towards turn number 3 then with Kevin Siggy. Moritz Lohner again leading the group of cars here, but let's get on board with our champion-elect Kevin Siggy as he's now coming down in towards this hairpin. See in the rear view he's got a Ferrari there, but nothing to be really too worried about here. Now it's just all about making sure you hit your brake marks. You've done all the hard work here, hit the apex on the inside, get on that power nice and early, run over that AstroTurf. And the last thing you want right now is any slowdown penalties or anything like that, or making a mistake by getting on the power a little bit too early. You've done all of the hard work. Pfeiffer and Isaac Price looks like they're battling in the background. Again, it's more indeed just a bit of fun at the end of the season really for those two drivers specifically, as we again are on board in towards the middle of sector number 2. We are nearly embarking upon the final sector of our final sprint race of the season, which will indeed give our champion Kevin Siggy the momentum he needs, the points he needs to be our champion for 2022 with a race to spare. Through the left hand and then up the hill, and then we very quickly come down the hill. 2 corners then remain here for Kevin Siggy. He has been so super strong throughout the season. We've still got one more race to come. It's the endurance race, but it doesn't matter as we round that final turn. Hold on to the grip on the inside. Let that car swing out to the outside. Team red lines. Kevin Siggy is not only going to win the first race here at Portimão, but he will officially be our DTM Esports Champion 2022 with 1 race to go. He's been superb this season. He deserves all of the credit in the world and absolutely dominates here at Portimão.
Fantastic stuff. Oh, Lohner's crashed out across the line. He gets 3rd place, however. It didn't affect his position, but there must have been an altercation there between Lohner and potentially Pfeiffer, unless that was just celebratory for Moritz Lohner, just trying to cross the line in style. We've still got 1 more race to go, by the way, Moritz, so don't do it that so early. But he knows now that he can't get himself the championship win because Siggy has that on lockdown now. That one is not going to change, even though these results are unofficial. There was nothing involved in Siggy, so yeah, Siggy, your DTM Esports 2022 champion.
Yeah, he absolutely deserves it. Lohner has indeed fought throughout the season. He has been either 1st, 2nd or 3rd. If you take Norrisring out of the equation, Moritz Lohner has been 1st, 2nd and 3rd. It was only 1st and 2nd up until this race today. He's been on the podium every single race other than the Norrisring. So it really was those 2 races where it just did not go right for him. Kevin Siggy, though, 1.4 seconds clear then of Finucci. Finucci guaranteeing his spot then through to the top 5. Moritz Lohner is already through with the top 5 as well. So it really is all about just the last 2 drivers to get, or the last 1 driver really, to get that spot through to the next stage of this competition. Max Pfeiffer then does take P4. We've then got Isaac Price in the top 5. Krippner is in a P6. Ottaviani does take a P7. We've then got Pinches and Hugveld and Gassner as your top 10.
Yep, cycling things here.
Pliska.
Yeah, Pliska, P11, Arshel P12. Sorry for stealing this from you, Luke, but Luciano Vitvoet P13 here today. And, well, Jack Keithley, great recovery from a qualifying ban. He works his way through the field up to 16th.
He does indeed. He's got Rudinger in behind him. Mosin, one of our MediaMarkt wildcard drivers here. You can see that by the red and white MediaMarkt livery. We then got Vermeulen, who we saw off into the gravel earlier on in the race. He picks up P19, and then Fox picks up P number 20. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is indeed race number 1. We have indeed crowned our champion. Is it going to be in super style, though, with a double win? Because we've still got our feature race to come, or our endurance race to come. We will indeed get straight involved with that after a little commercial break.
Auto Hero ist dein Online-Shop für Gebrauchtwagen. Wir verkaufen nur Autos aus unserem eigenen Bestand. Jedes ist von unseren Kfz-Experten general überholt und rundum aufbereitet. Und du erhältst 1 Jahr Garantie. So unbeschwert kann Autokauf sein. Finde jetzt dein Auto bei Auto Hero. Watch me
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlecars. It is a DTM Esports 2022 finale here at Portimão. We've already crowned our champion, Kevin Siggy, but will he go out in style? Will he go out there and produce a second victory in a row and also stop anyone else from winning a race this season? We've only had 3 different winners this season so far. That's him, Moritz Lohner, and indeed Christopher Hugveld. Is he going to be able to take one more victory? Can Gianmarco Fiducci, who I think is probably he's guaranteed himself through as a top 5 driver now. Would he be able to attack Kevin Siggy? I felt like for the most part in that race he had the pace, but then just dropped off in maybe the last couple of laps.
Yeah, I think so as well. But then again, it also might just be that Siggy was just sort of backing off of things a little bit and making sure that he could actually get to the checkered flag, because that would be the thing that wins him the championship in that race. He couldn't afford to make a mistake, have him heavy impact with a barrier or another car, and then all of a sudden we see Moritz Lohner back within a shot of the championship for the final race of the season. So yeah, Siggy did all that he needed to do and nothing more, and potentially he can have a little bit of fun for this endurance race as well, knowing that everything is secured in his favour. Maybe not too much fun though, because of course the DTM administrators, the DTM judges, shall we say, will still be looking at every single race this season, I would have thought, so can't mess around too much.
Yeah, but I don't think that Kevin Siggy has fun in his vocabulary, if I'm completely honest. He's very much all about work. As you see there, the DTM Esports contingent all out there in force. Again, it's not going to be the case that they're going to go out there and win the championship, but Moritz Lohner will look to try and at least get P2 in the championship, which again is pretty much guaranteed to. It probably already is guaranteed, actually, judging by the points. What were the points he came into this? Should I have a quick look? Yeah, Lohner. Oh, he was already miles clear for P2 as well, so I'm sure he'll be looking to probably help Leonard Krippner. Leonard Krippner versus Ottaviani is really where it's at. So we've just had the notion, we've just been told that the points are now up to date. So exactly what is the gap then, Connery, between Ottaviani and Leonard Krippner?
Well, let's have a look. It is 3 points between Ottaviani and Krippner. Ottaviani currently ahead by those 3 points. So it is very, very close for that final slot for the DTM Trophy Boot Camp. And that's what the top 5 get themselves a slot into. So yeah, this is going to come all down to this race, and potentially all down to a single position, especially if they both finish towards the top of the order due to the points caps.
I've just had I hope this is the case. Kevin Siggy, on board with him. Where is he?
Let's have a look, because I do not... Well, he hasn't set a time yet, but there he is.
Well, we'll see right now. Oh no, he's on an outlap here. Is there the potential for him to give us a little bit of a bit of a show, if you like, a little bit of a... I'm going to start from the back here. Last the first challenge. It's very rare at this kind of this level of a championship that you get that opportunity to do so. Yeah, I don't think Kevin Siggy's got no fun in his vocabulary. We've already established that. It's a pipe dream, Connery. I got excited. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'll guess we'll see. But at least in the early stages of qualifying, only 15 drivers actually set themselves a time first time of asking. So that was actually a little bit less than what we saw in qualifying 1. And it is Fiducci to the top of the order, but then Hergveld is well, I say only 0.2 of a second behind. 0.2 of a second is a country mile here in a series such as this one. You have to recalibrate your perspective a little bit when you talk about some of the top drivers on, well, any racing simulator that you can think of. But Hergveld, it's been I wouldn't, completely write off this season for Hergveld. He's had a good run of it. However, again, it's just all about the consistency in terms of results that sort of hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, and I think maybe the level's just a little bit above where he's at right now. He's young, he'll get there.
Thing is,
I just think the level here, the top of the tree in this championship is ridiculous, Connery. If especially on this sim, like these names, I probably would say I'll take Kevin Siggy out of the equation here, as Vanna is still helping the DTM Esports team there. Again, still grinds my gears, makes me pretty upset that that's still happening. But again, Kevin Siggy hasn't had any of that help from any other team, hasn't had any teammates to help him, and he's still gone out there and won, which that puts a smile on my face. To be honest, he absolutely deserves it. But yeah, I just think Hergveld is just below that top level on RaceRoom, like for this grid specifically. I saw what he's just done in the ADAC. Probably best not to mention that, but yeah, I'm not getting involved in that show, to be honest, of what happened there. But yeah, it's just a little bit below. But he's also been a race winner this season, so he's not far off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was. Again, it's sort of been a tale of two seasons for Hergveld in RaceRoom Esports for 2022. In ADAC, he had, he did have those consistent results in the first part of the season that ended up helping win the championship. Of course, there was a little bit of a dramatic finish after that, which you alluded to there, Luke. But either way, it has been the confirmation that Hergveld did win that championship. So certainly, on a good day, has the capability to compete up there with the best. It's just, like you said, here in this DTM series, on this starting grid in particular, it's been a bit more of a struggle. We are into the final couple of minutes of qualifying, though. Siggy still provisional pole position. Fiducci does close the gap a little bit to him in terms of lap time. It's just just under 1.5 tenths of a second now between P1 and P2. Whereas Moritz Lohner, there he is, coming across the line now. He's on for a personal best, but and yep, does improve at least briefly up into P4, but then Hasse comes and steals the party a little bit and gets him up into third.
Yeah, 100%. Well, one thing that really is interesting here is that Leonard Krippner's P6, and where's Ottaviani? So Krippner will get another opportunity here. Ottaviani, on his own here in the RHG Esports car, will have no help here. Has to be a perfect lap, really. Again, leads Krippner by 3 points in that battle for the top 5. And right now, the difference between P6 and P9 in terms of the points, P6 gets 22, P9 gets 16, so he would lose out by 3 points as it stands. So neither are getting any bonus points for qualifying. So it really does come down to this final lap here, as we've just seen Hergveld improve. Hergveld's just improved again. He's actually just displaced Moritz Lohner. Didn't change the position there of Leonard because Hergveld was already 5. But as it stands, the front 5, 3/10 of a second between them. I'm hoping to see a bit of a better race in race number 1, if I'm honest. It becomes dispersed really, really quickly because of poor driving standards, if I'm going to be completely honest. Split the field up, really. So I'm hoping everyone's on best behaviour. We always sort of think that the first race is going to be the crazy race, and it never tends to be. So I hope that doesn't mean that this race is going to be even more crazy, just going off of historically in this championship. I want it to be nice and clean, everyone stays nice and close, and hopefully we have a nice battle on our hands.
I mean, it's hard to say. For some drivers, the pressure might be off a little bit. Definitely if you're Kevin Siggy, because you can DNF from this race and it still won't matter with regards to championship. However, there are some drivers like Ottaviani, like Krippner, that are going to be fighting for the entire hour that this endurance race has to run to try and get themselves a slot in that boot camp for the DTM Trophy Drive next season. So we got ourselves our qualifying results showed a little early here with Kevin Siggy up into pole position, but we'll get to see whether Ottaviani can improve his time. He did do a personal best through Sector 2. It wasn't a great Sector 1, however, so we'll wait and see what happens with him coming up across the line. P number 9 for now. He would like a few more positions further up the starting grid. Across the line he comes. Does he improve? He does.
Oh, does. Oh, right behind him. Right behind him. So Krippner is, 3 points behind Ottaviani, but starts 1 position ahead of him as it stands. Again, showing you the actual, or telling you what the points mean this season. Actually, yeah, show the points on screen here, Connery. So Ottaviani and Krippner, it's between those two for top 5 in this championship. Remember, the top 5 will go to the sighting event at the Lausitz Ring in the middle of May at the DTM event here. So as it stands, P6 and P7, it is 22 points. It'll be between the two of them. Sorry, can you show me the points breakdown? My bad.
Yeah, those are the old points. There we go. There's the points breakdown.
Right now, if it was to finish as it starts, again, we probably know that won't happen, but just to give you a perspective as to how this is going to go down, Krippner would gain 22 points, and it would be Ottaviani that gains 20. Ottaviani would still be 1 point ahead at the end of the day. It is that close, ladies and gentlemen. It is between Ottaviani, it is between Leonard Krippner to qualify for our sighting event and potentially gain themselves a drive in the DTM Trophy 2023. It is so close here, Connery. This is perfect. Set up perfect.
Yeah, it is. And, well, in terms of the points coming out of that previous race, we also have Florian Hasse, who's a handful of points more points ahead, and he's pretty secure with the 3rd place starting position here today as well. Fiduci's a little bit further up as well. Let's see. And, well, Keithley is still too far adrift with regards to that top 5. That it's going to be very, very, very unlikely, if not impossible, for him to be able to get inside the top 5. So, yeah, it is basically Krippner versus Ottaviani now for that final slot for the DTM Trophy Boot Camp. We've got about 4.5 minutes till we get that final endurance race started. Of course, remember that final endurance race, 1 hour long scheduled pit stop where you have to take the fuel and the tyres. No shenanigans of taking no tyres and just putting the fuel to the end here in this one. It has to be a full pit stop service, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to focus on Leonard Krippner and Ottaviani, of course, for the most part of this race. We will try and get as many battles on screen as possible, but that is the story we need to tell here. The front 4 pretty much guaranteed to go through as it stands. Fiduci, Hasse, Lona, and indeed Siggy. Those 4 are going to be the top 4 in this championship. Who is going to get top 5? So remember, we've got DTM Esports Champion. Kevin Siggy's done that. He's sewn that up. Lovely old job from him. But it's all about the 5 drivers that will go to this sighting event and will then be judged, and whoever is the best candidate from those 5 will receive that prize of a DTM Trophy 2023 drive. We've got ourselves 3 minutes 30 seconds on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know where you're watching from around the world. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch right now, get yourselves involved in the chat. I'll give you a shout out. I promise you I'll give you a shout out. And also, if you want to get involved on Twitter, if you're watching on television right now, hashtag we love DTM. Hashtag we love DTM on Twitter, and I will indeed try my best to refresh and keep up to date with anyone that posts on there and says hello. So yeah, that's the ways of getting in contact with the stream today. Connery, it is so perfectly poised. If they were to finish as they finish, or as they start this race, it'll be 1 point between them. Ottaviani would hold on by the skin of his teeth. There's going to be some twists and turns here, but I've asked you who's going to win races. I'm going to ask you a simple question. Who is going to get that P5 spot? Will it be Krippner or will it be Ottaviani?
I think the advantage goes to Krippner at the moment. Even though he is behind in terms of points coming into this one, he has something that's that Ottaviani doesn't, and that is other team cars. He can work together with his Dirt Esports teammates to try and put as many of those between himself and Ottaviani as is physically possible, and he can use his teammates to cause a little bit of carnage. All within the rules, of course. We're not expecting anyone to deliberately wreck anyone out or anything like that. But that is really going to work in Krippner's favor here, and it's going to be a bit of a struggle for Ottaviani to keep himself out of the way of all of that. However, we saw this in a different series. Even with all the Dirt Esports teammates working together, sometimes they still can't get it done. So it's still a big unknown, but I have to say Krippner for this instance.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, mate. I really do agree with you on that one. I will say this, it's in Ottaviani's hands. So, for me, yes, the DTM Esports cars, if it comes to the last couple of minutes and they've got one car like Lona ahead or Hassa ahead of Kripner, of course they could drop and give the position to Kripner. That's if Kripner is ahead of Ottaviani. So Ottaviani is in his own hands here. For me, he has to go out there and make the overtake. He has to get ahead of Kripner. Because right now, yeah, of course, by the way the points are, he's fine. He's going to be 1 point clear. He cannot leave it to chance like that. He has to be ahead just so that he takes that one factor away from DTM Esports. He takes that opportunity of dropping a position to give Kripner an extra few points because he's ultimately ahead. He will gain more than Kripner. It's going to be fascinating here. And again, you said it, you know, the DTM Esports team, they've got it nailed in terms of how to work together. But it's another championship where they, again, haven't got it done, have they? Kevin Siggy has been their kryptonite. Christopher Hugveld has been their kryptonite on RaceRoom. So there's one more chance here to go out there and help a teammate get into a decent position in their top 5. Will they succeed? Well, who knows? We're about to find out here. Here is Hugveld. Again, he's the only other driver apart from Lona and indeed Kevin Siggy that has won a race this season. He won a race at the Norris Ring. Yes, it did take Kevin Siggy binning it out the final corner, but it is what it is. Still went up there and took that victory. Sparks fly up. 30 seconds to go, Connery. It's poised perfectly. It's the final race of the DTM Esports. It's been a blast this season. Have we got one more special treat in store?
I think we might. Remember, though, as well, Hugveld, he is part of RHG Esports now, as his livery says. He does need to update his team name in RaceRoom, I will say that. But either way, he's one that could potentially give a little bit of assistance to Ottaviani if he can get a little bit further up through the field in this final race of the season. Time has expired here in the warm-up. Kripner giving us a little bit of a show with the drift and the donut there, coming through the right-hander, but game face is on now.
Hold on. That's a really good point there, because there's a pit stop in this. Could it be, even if he's behind, could someone like Hugveld potentially stay out a lot longer than the other teams and potentially do some slower lap times because the tyres just aren't really there? You know, there's actually a lot of factors in this that I didn't think of. Of course, with DTM Esports, they've got 763 cars to try and do that. So, yeah, it's still advantaged them. But RHG, they're relatively new in terms of the sim racing world, and they've instantly etched their name as to one of the very best out there. Is this one more opportunity for them to showcase that as well? The team side of this. So, for instance, ironically, this is a solo championship, but we are talking about teams helping each other out when it comes to this final race. One driver who doesn't care about that, Kevin Siggy, DTM Esports 2022 champion. He is absolutely in dreamland right now. He will start pole position once again. They've got Fiducci in second spot. That's how they finished in race number 1. We don't really need to be too worried about the front drivers. We will indeed, of course, see them battling out for position, but it does become all about P6 and P7 on the grid for P5 in the championship. One formation lap to go here, Connery. Have you got any predictions here?
There's going to be a lot of shenanigans in this race, I think. Of course, it's both in RHG's interest and, of course, in DTM Esports' interest to get their driver into that final qualification spot for the DTM Trophy boot camp. So there's going to be a lot of a lot of blocking, I think. A lot of big attempted passes just to rattle each driver's cages. And, of course, once we get to that scheduled pit stop as well, we may even see some drama there as well, with secondary, tertiary drivers staying out trying to help their driver get themselves that slot for the DTM boot camp. So there's a lot to talk about here at Portimão. I can't wait for it. It's not just going to be the drivers 1v1 out there on circuit. Yes, there's just one position separating Kripner and Ottaviani right now for that final slot, and only a handful of points. But, you know, it might not be decided between the two of them with a fight on track. It might be decided on who can get the most help from outside parties.
Yep. It's all to play for. It's hardly anything we can really predict here. There's so many different factors. Just hoping for a very, very good race. Looks like we've only got 21 of the 23 that started the day on the grid. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's just less factors really for the drivers that we know are in the hunt for the top 5. So it comes down to this then. Leonard Kripner and Ottaviani. Kripner is currently in P6. Ottaviani is in P7, and Hugveld. Oh, sorry, I thought Hugveld was starting in P8. So this actually is massive here, isn't it? Yeah, this is another, having Hugveld ahead of you makes it even easier here for someone like Ottaviani to really gain from the situation. So I didn't realize Hugveld was that high. I thought he was genuinely P8 here, so that makes things super, super interesting. They are now going to form up side by side. We've got 1 hour of racing. A 30-minute pit window will indeed open up as well during this. At 15 minutes, you'll see a red box next to their name. When that goes green, that means you know that they've done their pit stop. Strategy has been massive every single week so far during this DTM Esports 2022 season. It will be as big today, if not more so, because of what is on the line. Kevin Siggy, whose pole position is our champion. Fiducci will finish third in this championship. It will be indeed Lona, who's fifth on the grid, who finishes second, and Hassa will finish fourth in the championship. But the battle for that top 5 and the prizes is all between P6 and P7. Kripner versus Ottaviani. It's the final race of the DTM Esports 2022, and Siggy gets us away. It's green light racing here at Portimão. Down in towards turn 1 we will go, and Siggy straight away, straight across there. Beautiful stuff here. Excuse me there, as Hugveld up into P3 and absolutely playing the team game here for R8G. As you can see though, it is a potential movement up the inside. Oh, there's contact, there's 3 wide there, and I think teammates are taking each other out there. And I tell you what, Ottaviani is ahead of Kripner. So Ottaviani sent one up the inside there. Knew it's going to be 3 wide, but he did nothing wrong. He hit the apex there. The 2 BMWs then of Florian Hassa, and I think it was Kripner as well. They've had contact. Hassa was on the outside. He got spun around. But the big drama here is we thought that DTM Esports had it all in their own hands because they had 3 cars up ahead of Ottaviani. They have none now. Hugveld and Ottaviani are P3 and P4. The R8G team can work together now and try and help Ottaviani get through to our top 5.
That might be a situation that's influenced by the stewards as well, because it was a big dive to the inside from Ottaviani, making it 3 wide in towards the braking zone of turn 3. So the stewards will still have to look at that. So we've got an active investigation from race 1. We've now possibly, you have to ask the stewards yourself, we got an active investigation for race number 2 as well to sort out, because I'm not sure. Oh, someone else is around there. That was an Arnage car that's around, and also another DTM Esports car. That's Michael Rachel around as well. Jonas Vanna, well, we can technically call him a DTM Esports car with how much he's been helping them in qualifying over the course of this season as well. So more drama towards the very back of the field. Crossing the line for the first time here in this endurance race. Siggy leads from Fiducci, from Hugveld, from Ottaviani. That's worked out pretty nicely for R8G Esports. However, do they draw the ire of the stewards?
Yeah, very interesting there. Again, I've only seen it once. I've not seen a replay of this, but I just don't think. I think Ottaviani hit the apex there as well. I think it was the 2 BMWs that really had the contact. I'm not sure as to whether he influenced that. I would need to see it again, but from my initial view, I think that Kripner has just been ghosted there more than anything, and then just run out a little bit wide, and Hassa was the unfortunate driver on the outside. So I just think it was kind of a case of, oh my god, he's up my inside, I need to take avoiding action. And actually, I don't think he needed to. I think it was a very well calculated move there from the Ferrari. But again, I've seen it once. Who knows? So Siggy, Fiducci, Hugveld, Ottaviani, 4 Ferraris then lead out this race here. They've definitely been the car of the field. A lot of these drivers are the stars of the field, of course. 2 of them have gone out and been race winners this season, with Hugveld in P3 and Siggy P1. What about Moritz Lona then? P8, then not a good starter for him at all, really. He's down in P8 again. He was never able to. Never going to be winning the championship now. It's impossible for him to do so, but it would have been nice for him to go out there with a bang and potentially get that P1. Already driving in the DTM Trophy, to be fair, so he's got nothing to be too worried about. He's already in the DTM Trophy season. He's in for his 2nd season in a row for FK Performance Motorsport. Shout out to Flo as well. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're all well. But as we head towards the end of lap number 2, it is, again, same as race number 1, Siggy versus Fiducci. Fiducci maybe a little bit further back than he was at this stage of race number 1. Hugveld in P3. Can he spring a surprise here? Can he? Imagine he goes out and wins this race and all of the things I was saying about him earlier on. Again, I meant it in the nicest way possible. I said there's a lot of room for improvement for him, but he might go out there and win this race and really prove me wrong.
Yeah, it could do. I mean, it's not outside the realms of possibility whatsoever. Remember, we have just under 57 minutes of this race to run just yet, so still a lot of stories to be told. Having a look at our lovely stream chats here, Steph Kramers thinks that dive from Ottaviani is too much. He pushed Kripner into Hassa. So that's the point of view of one of our viewers. Of course, we were only able to get have a look at it once here because we are unable to do replays here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the situation. Of course, the stewards will have many more angles of that once they get the hold of the replay file and look at it after the race as well. So we'll have to see. It wasn't the clearest view that we got on our cameras. I did see the dive to the inside from Ottaviani. I didn't quite see the contact coming through the middle of the apex, though. That will be the key thing when it comes to a steward's decision. I will say this, though. Ottaviani needs to run this race now like he's got a penalty. Not just from race 1, but from potentially race 2 as well. So that means he needs to get as much time between himself and Krippner as is possible to absorb a potential 3 or even 5-second penalty.
Yeah, he's 100% going to be expecting Hugveld to get out of the way, but I think he's actually got the pace to make this overtake anyway. He seems to have closed up relatively nicely. I will go on the person you were talking about in the chat as well, Steph. Seems like he's very much a fan of DTM Esports as well, so maybe some rose-tinted glasses on from the initial there. From what we saw there, it didn't look too crazy, really, from Ottaviani. Again, stewards will decide there. But yeah, everyone's going to support their favourite team. I think Hugveld's making it easy now. He's done it. Okay, so here we go. R8G are absolutely playing a team game. If you wanted any proof, we've just seen it there. So Hugveld now, I guess, backs up the pack, does he? He just makes it as hard for the BMW as possible, basically parks it on every apex, and if he can maybe hold them up for 2-3 laps, give him maybe a 5-second advantage here to someone like Ottaviani, this is huge. Although, I think Ottaviani would probably prefer Hugveld just to drive as quickly as he possibly can, and maybe just keep that position in between the two of them.
Yeah, Hugveld's job now is to do his best, what should we say, Jason Plato impression, if you're familiar with the BTCC. Just park it on every single apex, just to try and keep everyone behind you. That's his task, and that would look at the gap that Ottaviani's got already. It's 0.6 of a second, extending to 0.7 of a second. So Hugveld has started doing this already.
Yeah, he's absolutely trying to make that gap as big as possible here, and I just think the Ferrari is, he's probably maybe going to bait Krippner into taking him out as well, or maybe trying to force something. There's just so many things at play here. We've got Vitas in the chat there. Old man Isaac Price getting 3 positions in both races. Yeah, he is an old man. Oh, look at that on the apex there. Wow, okay. What, you think you're going to get a speeding ticket, Hugveld? What's going on here? That was the most obvious break on the apex I think I've ever seen in sim racing. And now you can see he's got a gap there, so yeah, I don't like the way they're doing things, but if we're going to be honest, would do the same in the opposite position? Absolutely. Have we seen it from them? Yes. Have we seen shenanigans from them in qualifying? Yes. So it was to be expected every day of the week and maybe twice on Sunday.
Yeah, here's the big attempt around the outside for Krippner. That's a huge run around the outside, off the circuit a little bit, so track limits to be concerned about, but Hugveld still has the inside, still has the position. Contact from behind, Krippner's around. That's it.
That's it. That's it done. It doesn't matter about penalties. I think he's done here because it was Isaac Price that caused that. And, well, him and Hugveld battling for position. They both get stuck on the apex there, and Price is kind of a bit of an innocent bystander there. Again, with his age, not being able to react quick enough. That's a joke. Yeah, it really is a case of they both just stopped on the apex effectively, and Price has just tangled ever so slightly in backwards. More free positions for him. Moritz Lohner now in behind in P6 here. I think Price may be in the running for a penalty again if you get hit from behind. It's normally car and fault on the normal road, so racing tends to be the same there as well. So I would imagine it is his fault. But on the flip side, I'm not sure there's much he could have done about that. But the big problem here really for Krippner is that he's now down at P16, and I don't know what kind of penalty Ottaviani would need now to not be battling for that P5 or be in that P5. He maybe need to be, I don't know, disqualified from the race. He hasn't done anything that crazy to warrant a disqualification from a race here. So Krippner, keep an eye on him. Krippner has to make up positions here, as many as he possibly can, for the end of this race, and he probably needs a little bit of help here from his DTM Esports teammates as well. So Krippner now P15. Florian Hasser's just up ahead. So as soon as if he can creep up to the back of Hasser here, he knows Hasser's going to get out of the way. We've then got only Lohner, really, to be fair, isn't it? It's only Lohner up ahead, so he's definitely going to gain 2 spots, I would imagine. Say if Lohner and Hasser do not get out of the way here, given the best possible opportunities, then they're just not really playing the team game. And we've seen in DTM just last year that the team game or manufacturer game is a big factor. So expect to see that here today.
Yeah, we of course don't have team or manufacturer points this season. I have to wonder if that potentially might be a thing later on. I don't have any inside info, by the way, so there's nothing I can say that will give you any clues about what's happening for any potential next season. But yeah, it'll be an interesting thing to implement, that's for sure. And just sort of has the esports and the real life DTM mirror each other just that little bit more. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very tough and long road back now for Krippner, even if it is possible. That's the situation. It's you know, you can say, yeah, okay, we got 50 minutes of this race to go. We still got that scheduled pit stop. Yes, so we can factor all of that in. But regardless, it's still what at this point probably around about, let's see on that left-hand side, down to Krippner, 16 seconds off the leader. About 10 seconds back from where he was previously. So again, it's not impossible to make up, but yeah, that's a big struggle, and he needs to be hoping for a penalty from Ottaviani as well.
Yeah, basically, for me, Krippner has to come in at the first minute of the pit window open. He needs to come into the pits and he needs to have fresh rubber and just fly and hope to get track position. That then just defend for his life at the end. That's the only option he has here for me. I don't know what you think on that, Connery. I think that's the only option he has.
Yeah, he needs the track position first and foremost, and then he can try and make that the widest BMW ever on that final stint when everyone else is on fresh tyres trying to lock back onto the back of him. So for Krippner, well, he doesn't have anyone immediately ahead of him. Of course, we've got Hasser and Mosin a little bit further down the road by about 2 seconds. So I think as soon as he catches a bit of traffic and the pit window is open, that's when he's going to come down in.
Yeah, 100%. Again, yeah, if he can maybe extend it for a couple of laps, it makes it a little bit easier later on in the race. But for me, yeah, it's come in as early as you possibly can, get that fresh rubber on, just go out there, lap like it's qualifying for 49 minutes. It's as simple as that. And to be fair, in sim racing, everyone does lap like it's qualifying. It's kind of a little bit different to the real world, where they have to take it a little bit easier. In sim racing, you can be a little bit more aggressive, I would say. So, yeah, Krippner could do something special here, but he has to do something special here. It's not a case of he could, he absolutely has to. I'm not sure he's got it in him. And you know, if the race was 3 hours long, I think there might be that opportunity. I'm just not sure in an hour it's quite going to be enough.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion in that instance. You know, I can be wrong. I have been wrong on a good few occasions. You know, no one has a crystal ball and can predict the future absolutely perfectly. Because you know, if there even is one sport in the entire world, motorsports is the one that tends to throw up the surprises, shall we say? But yeah, I mean, the percentage chance is in the single digits for Krippner.
Yeah, but again, I have, to be fair, seen much crazier things happen in sim racing, so don't write him off yet. But the pit window will open in the next 3 minutes here. I think Krippner's caught up to the back of, well, it's his teammate Hasser here, so I don't think it's going to be that much of a worry. No, he hasn't caught up, actually. But yeah, the first car here, luckily, is going to be Florian Hasser, and also maybe needs to like get Lohner to slow people down behind him as well, make it easier to maybe catch up to P6. Like, that's the maximum they can really be hoping for here, because it's in their hands. As a car just disappears off the circuit there. What happened there? Who was that? Well, Alex Mosin just taking yeah, that's the short version there. But you took it at the wrong time. He's kind of taken the long version and then thought, oh no, I'm going to take the short version, and then realised, oh well, no, it's too late now. And yeah, that's a bit messy there.
That's F1 first year they did Paul Ricard vibes right there.
Yeah, that is exactly right there. And well, to be fair, Mosin getting the sponsor of the event, MediaMarkt, onto screen. It's always good, isn't it? Always good to get the sponsors on screen. It's what these motorsport drivers are very good at here. Isaac Price still holding firm then in P5, doing a very, very good job here. Again, all of the jokes and stuff about him being old and all that, ladies and gentlemen. It is all a bit of fun, nothing more, nothing less. I've had a couple of messages where people genuinely said I'm picking on him. I'm not. I know Isaac. I have the utmost respect for him. He's one of the very best sim racers that have been over the last 10 years. And there's not very many people you can say that about who have the longevity of that 10 years, hence the old man jokes. That is what it's about. It's nothing really to do with his age.
He's still old, though.
Oh, yeah.
as far as sim
Yeah,
races are concerned. You know, even because I've been doing sim racing commentary since. Oh no!
Lona is just spinning round.
Old man spin.
Oh.
There we go. Old man rejoin as well. Oh, the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, and another one.
It's like he's driving his rocket chair at this point. That is
I think Price is trying to go for as many penalties sustained within 5 seconds in that instance.
Yeah, that was interesting to say the very least. I'm going to throw that out there. That clip will not end up on his Instagram, nor his team's Instagram. So yeah, I've got nothing to be worried about that one now. Lona now P7, so Gassner's got up ahead here. So is Max Pfeiffer as well. Another double performance from him has been very, very good for the tailored rig esports outfit. Pliska now moves up to P8, Vermeulen P9, Attila Dinya is in P10, Keithley up to P11. Then we've got Florian Hasser and Kripner. Kripner's been helped here by gaining 2 spots by the looks of things. That was because of Mosin and indeed Isaac Price. So now it's really all in his own hands here. And I'm going to be honest with you, he's actually dropping further back from Florian Hasser. He must have damage as well, to be fair, considering the contact he had earlier on. But yeah, he's just not really making any inroads in terms of his own pace. He's dropped off 2 seconds from the lead. Then again, it's Kevin Siggy in the lead, so that makes sense. But I'll be surprised if he doesn't bring this car in right now, as soon as he possibly can, get that fresh rubber on, and maybe fix some of the damage that he potentially has here. Does he swing it to the right? No, so he's not making that decision here. Stay out as long as you can, then is really the vibe I'm getting, but he needs help from his teammates to just slow the rest of the pack down, and even that isn't going to be enough here. Ottaviani's done the hard work early in this race. Hugveld P4, a teammate of RHG, if their esports do try and influence this race so that Kripner maybe gains a couple of spots, he's got Hugveld to back him up, the RHG outfit, again, in a very, very good spot indeed.
Yeah, indeed. Which is the best word I use to describe that. But Gassner keeping ahead of Lerner at the moment. And, well, again, it's good to see those Taylor Rig esports cars continuing to fight the good fight. It's been over the past couple of rounds now that they've been able to score some pretty good points finishes. You got Max Pfeiffer a little bit further down the road in 5th as well. So the Mercedes doing great things here. And, well, hopefully this is the sign of more to come from the Taylor Rig esports team, because it does seem over the past month or so that they've really, really come to the forefront. They must have worked something out with these cars to be able to get themselves towards the top of the order, or potentially they might have put in the legwork, put in the hard work, and it's starting to pay off.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. It's just a little bit too little too late, isn't it? And you tend to find that, don't you? You tend to find that teams will find something at the end of the season and you think, oh, that puts them in good stead for the next season, and then the car changes or something changes. It's kind of like, why couldn't you, I don't know, some teams prepare a little bit better when it comes to the end of the season than they do at the start of the season, and you genuinely see who prepares the most. Kevin Siggy has put in a lot of time. Like, that's just how he is. He'll put in 8 hours a day to try and win this. Like, he'll want this prize. He's been in a real race car before. He'll absolutely want to be in a real race car again. And, you know, if I was to go based off of what I know about these drivers right now, Moritz Lohner, you've absolutely got to say that he would be a top candidate for a real drive because he is currently racing in that series. But outside of that, Kevin Siggy he is young, he's fit, he's determined, he's got experience in a real race car, he's a born winner. You know, he will be incredible at any challenge that's thrown his way in terms of if they're going to be looking at the normal challenges like reactions and stuff like that for a motorsport driver. He will have that in abundance. He'll be fine. So yeah, not only looking at this championship here, looking past it and potentially being the overall winner of the prize, I think Kevin Siggy's in a really good spot. Moritz Lohner, of course, we know that he's already in the car. He's already got himself some podiums, in the DTM trophy. I can actually get his DTM trophy stat up for you right now. So Moritz Lohner had 14 starts last season. He got third twice. He got top 5 4 times, and he got top 10 9 times out of 14 races. Super, super consistent. P8 in the championship, 82 points overall. That's how much of a nerd I am, guys. I have my own spreadsheets that I put together. So, yeah, he's already got that accolade. He's already got that showing. He's already got that skill set. But if there's anyone outside of him that could really be in and amongst it, Kevin Siggy, I just think he just needs that small chance. Once he gets that small chance, expect to see him take the world on.
Yeah, potentially. Of course, it's not a guarantee. Even as the winner of this DTM Esports Championship, it's not a guarantee he'll actually get the prize. It's going to be anyone inside of that top 5. Of course, I would have to say it's probably unlikely Lona gets it, considering he he already has a drive for the DTM trophy for next season. So it might have to be in amongst the other 4 about who gets that. But you know, if Siggy does get it, then potentially.
Well, no, this is not this season. This is for next season. Remember?
All
so
right, okay.
yeah, so this is for 2023. This is not for 2022. So right now, Moritz Lona is racing for 2022, but you know, it would be good for him to win this overall when it gets to the sighting event, just to guarantee himself a seat, because motorsport is not as easy as, oh, he raced last season, of course he's going to be racing this season. The DTM Trophy Grid's only got 4 drivers from last season racing this season. So it is a case of if he could win the seat for next season and not have to worry about going out getting sponsors and worry about funding the season, like, this is a dream come true for him as well. So yeah, it's not as cut and dry as, oh, it will be between the other 4 because Moritz is already there. He isn't. He's just got this season.
Okay. There we go, that clears it up. Lona, though, he did come down in for a very early stop, and, well, he was the only one to come down in this early. So that's a call there for Moritz Lona, potentially to try and secure himself ahead of Gassner and try and get close to Pfeiffer and Hergfeldt further down the road as well. But if he's able to get up to Ottaviani, then that would be a benefit. Then he can start helping out Krippner a little bit, try and cause Ottaviani to lose a few positions. Another driver on towards pit lane. That is Pfeiffer and Gassner, so they're coming down in to cover off Lona. But I got to say, though, if Siggy and Lona both get themselves a season in the same season in the DTM Esports Trophy, it'll be fascinating to see their potential fight, because it's 2 sim drivers, but fighting it out in real cars.
Yeah, that would be amazing. To be fair, we saw Will Tregurtha and Ben Green do that very much last year. And in all fairness, every single racing driver is now a sim driver as well, for the most part. So yeah, it'd be nice to see. I guess it's a lot of them have become sim racers, but after they've become a real race driver, this is kind of the opposite, isn't it? So yeah, it'd be amazing to see them 2 fight on the circuit there. Maybe the DTM Esports program produces a DTM Trophy champion. How amazing would that be? How amazing would it be to see someone come from the DTM Esports background and move forward through DTM Trophy? Well, we've already seen it from Tim Heineman. Tim Heineman, of course, one of the very best of all time when it comes to RaceRoom specifically. He's gone into the DTM Trophy, won the first season, an absolute canter, to be honest. Was very unfortunate in terms of just hasn't managed to get that drive in the DTM Championship overall. And I think that's the next step. I think that is the next step. As soon as a DTM Trophy driver gets that drive in the DTM, I think we're just going to be looking at the whole ecosystem of DTM in a whole different way. As Ottaviani, by the way, is absolutely struggling with those rear tyres. 100% bringing the car in now, isn't he? Is he not? Like, has he got a puncture or some sort? Because they're now, 10.7 seconds off of Fiducci. There's a big problem here. Hergfeldt has just decided, I think, not to make the overtake. If he doesn't bring the car in, I guess there's no issue. But yeah, for me, Ottaviani was very much struggling getting the power down on the exit. But yeah, back to the topic in hand. We've got these 5 pillars in DTM. We've got DTM, DTM Trophy, DTM Classic, DTM Electric, and DTM Esports. And to see them all so closely knit together, of course, we've got so many champions from yesteryear racing in DTM Classics. We've got the DTM itself has got 29 different cars this season, 29 different drivers, but I think it will work out to be about 34 because we've got drivers that can't make certain events. They've got drivers like Sebastian Loeb, for instance, coming in as a reserve driver, which is mind-blowing. Sebastian Loeb, a reserve driver. Just let that sink in. He's going to be taking over from Nick Cassidy for the AF Corsa team. But yeah, I think the next step really is to link it all together, would be having a DTM, like an esports driver, make it from this to DTM Trophy, succeed in DTM Trophy, and then make it to DTM. Like that, what a story that would be. That would be amazing for me personally. I think that would just be the tip of the iceberg and would show what progress DTM are trying to make in a grand scale of things.
Oh, look at this. Hergfeldt just coming off of pit lane. He'll be on the cold tyres, and this is potentially the opportunity that Lona needs to try and get by. He already got by Gassner based on the strategy. That was just due to time on pit lane, and now he swings through on Hergfeldt. Careful to keep it all together coming off the exit of the corner. Sorry to interrupt your monologue there, Luke, but Lona's played a blinder in terms of strategy here.
He absolutely has, and that puts him up to a net 4th position. Siggy, Ottaviani and Fiducci then are all effectively now still ahead, because we just saw Hugveld come into the pits just in behind Ottaviani. And for me, Ottaviani has to follow suit, right? Where is Ottaviani? Should be coming up towards the end of the lap now. Well, there he is. He's into the pit, so he had to follow suit here. And he did not look quick on the exit of the final couple of corners through the previous lap. This is going to be interesting here. And I'm going to throw this out there. Oh, look at this. Gassner, that's a slowdown penalty all day of the week. Christopher Hugveld there, cut into next week. Up the inside there of Gassner. I want to go on board here with Ottaviani. I think that Lona is going to have got him here. I really do. So I think the outlap here would have been pretty quick from everybody on fresh tyres. I don't think Ottaviani was really that quick at all. I think he burnt his tyres out big time. So Moritz Lona then is going to come around that final corner. This is the car just in behind. We are going to see him merge then. So let's get on board with Lona. There he is. Ottaviani's coming out here, so we will see this merge. And is it going to be Ottaviani in P3, or has Moritz Lona gone from P8 in this race down up towards P3? It is going to be close. Oh, it's not going to be as close as I thought, actually. I think Ottaviani may have, yeah, he's got him pretty easily here, in all fairness. Got a little bit overexcited there. Maybe it's just one corner he made a mistake at, to be fair, and he wasn't ultimately that slow. So Moritz Lona, who's got the older tyres, they are already up to temperature. I think that's something that he will have an advantage on, is we've got Hugveld here diving up the inside of Gassner, gets that job done, sweeps around the outside, and I tell you what, Gassner just trying to hang on up the inside. They are still side by side. Yeah, the overlap is, oh, no, it isn't anymore. Gassner then trying to get that slipstream. He's going to try and swing it around the outside. Hugveld is just losing so much time to the group in front if he wants a podium. It's not quite going to work out, although he cannot get that power down. Neither can the BMW. Both come out there very similarly in this situation. Is there a potential dive here from Gassner? No, there isn't. If we go a little bit further up, Moritz Lona is absolutely battling for that podium spot.
Indeed he is. There he is, out there. Ottaviani, of course, on marginally fresher tyres by 2 laps, I think it is, and those will be starting to come up to temperature at the end of this lap. So, yeah, it's still going to be a bit of a struggle for Lona, but never count out your previous DTM Esports champion here, and of course driver in the DTM trophy as well. So, yeah, I mean, still potential for him to try and get past Ottaviani here and just have help Krippner out just that little bit more. Krippner, he did come down on towards the pit lane, by the way. He's up behind Hasse still, which is the driver he was behind even before, coming down on towards the pit lane. So maybe a little bit of damage is affecting Krippner's performance here, which is severely reducing his chances at scoring enough points to be able to even cause Ottaviani a concern.
Yeah, but he has caught up to Hasse. So Hasse was about 3 seconds ahead before the pit stop phase. But he has caught up here, so yeah, he's in a relatively good position. Ottaviani has been gapped here by Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Wow. So Max Pfeiffer's up to P3, net P3. So on for a podium here in that AMG. Wow, okay. He did an overcut, didn't he? Came in a little bit, he came in a lap later. Max Pfeiffer has just produced a miracle pit stop. And he put himself, wow, I didn't see that coming. Yeah. He was only P5, I think. So he was behind the 2 R8G cars, and he wasn't really putting any pressure on. He wasn't like right behind them when they all pit. And ultimately, here we go. Wow.
Yeah, and does this start to concern a little bit the drivers further down the road? I don't think so. They had a pretty decent gap. There is Gianmarco Fiducci coming down in. That's for the team Fordzilla Ferrari. And, well, let's see where he comes out in relation to Max Pfeiffer. There's Kevin Siggy. He still remains out there. Yet another lap, and of course he has a decent time buffer to those cars behind, so he can afford to stick it out there just for a couple of extra laps, just to make sure he has the best tyres for the very end of the race. Max Pfeiffer continuing to cap Ottaviani as well.
Well, no, yeah, so he's ahead of Ottaviani. He's not going to be catching up to he's not going to be catching up to Fiducci here. So Fiducci should come out absolutely clean ahead here, unless he had loads of damage to fix or anything like that. I think he's going to be all good. There is Fiducci then coming out of the pits. Good day for him, guaranteeing himself that top 5. Team Fordzilla driver will be at the sighting event later on in the year. There is Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer's on for that podium. He's going to be chased down by Ottaviani 100%. It's not going to be a very easy podium here from here on out. He's still got over half the race to go. 32 minutes on the clock here, but I tell you what, it'll be a very popular podium, to say the very least.
Yeah, I think so too. It will be. And, well, currently your podium sitters are not yet to come down towards the pit lane. At least the current podium sitters here, with the pit stop still yet to be in effect for these guys. So Siggy yet to come down in, Vermeulen, and of course Isaac Price yet to make their pit stops here in this event. And while Siggy, he remains out there at least one more as well. So continuing to log laps on those tyres that he's had on since the very start of the event. And, well, this is more of a, relatively conservative strategy for him. He's just eating into the time a little bit that he was able to get over the rest of the field through the first stint, and that will now pay him dividends for the very end, as he will have both the combination of the gap and the fresher tyres to be able to run away even further. Further down the order, well, closest battle on circuit, Luke, is Pliska versus Attilia Dinya. This is for currently P10 out there on circuit.
Absolutely, and again, there's two young drivers out there that are making their way in the esports world, and I would say that's quite common on RaceRoom now. There's a couple of the elder statesmen, if you like to say, but for the most part, these are all very young drivers, been around for 2 or 3 years at the very top level, and they're only going to get better and better and better. So excited to see the future for these drivers. Just look at the picture, how young they are. P11, Dinya seems like he's been around forever. But look, just still battling for that top 10. We know if he gets a run here on Pliska, probably best not to try and take the inside route turn number 1.
Yeah, sticking behind, just going to be the name of the game here. There is the swap, though, between Hasse and Krippner. That was just as obvious as the swap between Högfeldt and Ottaviani that we had at the very start of this race. So Krippner has been let through up into P13. So, you know, every little helps when it comes to points here in this championship, and especially in Krippner's situation where he needs to reduce the gap all the way to Ottaviani. However, 30 minutes left in this race. Got to keep yourself in it. You got to be in it to win it in championships such as this, even though P1 has completely gone away in terms of championship to Kevin Siggy. Siggy, he can DNF from this race, and he'll still be the championship winner at the end of today. But of course, the main feature that we've been talking about over the course of this final race is who's going to be finishing in that final qualification spot into the DTM Trophy Boot Camp, where one of those drivers will get themselves a chance to drive a DTM Trophy car in a full season, which is an absolutely fantastic experience for whoever is going to be able to get that. Axel Vermeulen, he's come down on towards the pit lane, so that means we've got 2 drivers yet to make their final pit stop in this race. That's Kevin Siggy and Isaac Price. Both of those have not yet come down in. In terms of DNFs, well, we've had Ralph Prenger. He's unfortunately not going to take any further part in this race. We have Luciano Wittvoets and Pinches, and of course Jonas Vanna also have decided that this race is not going to end with them in it. So that's sort of a little bit of an update with regards to the circumstances out there on circuit, with just under halfway to go here, Luke. So we're still waiting for Siggy and Price to come down in. But once that's done, well, it's going to be a straight up fight to the end. Potentially in and amongst this little grouping between Pfeiffer, Ottaviani, Lohner. Those are the sort of close drivers out there right now.
Yeah, 100%. And when it's all said and done, I think they're going to be battling for a potential podium if they can stick with Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer looking pretty quick here. We've got here Svetislav Pashkov saying, is VER Verstappen? Yeah, he's the Belgian version. You know the answer to that question. Come on, Siggy still leading, and I think he's going. I thought if he'd come in at 30 minutes, he's just going to split the strategy. I think he wants to lead every single lap, so he's going to wait for everybody to pit behind him, which they have now. Isaac Price, who loves to stay out late and get a couple of lead laps, I think he realizes that Siggy is just going to stay out longer. Siggy wants to do the whole "I've led every single lap of this race." Move on. He will bring the car in next time round. I would very much doubt he goes any later than that. He doesn't, because everybody's pit now. And he will lead every single lap here. It will be in style. DTM Esports Champion 2022. Is there anything more stylish than leading every single lap? Yeah, I'm not sure there is. Fiducci, by the way, moves up to P2. Price is going to drop behind Pfeiffer as well. Ottaviani as well. And then Lohner, who, well, we've already seen Price and Lohner have a little bit of coming together. Högfeldt comes through, Gasser comes through, Pliska comes through, so does Attila Dinya. Keithley is going to come through, his twin brother. Krippner and Hasse are in P11 and 12. Then we've got Verstappen, or Vermeulen, in P13. And Rashul, I don't think is quite going to get him here. So P14 then for Isaac Price, fresh rubber on the car. What can kind of magic can he produce now out of that magic hat? Siggy is the leader. Is he going to come in this lap?
Yep.
There we go. Absolutely called it. He wants to lead every single lap. Everyone's now coming behind him, so he knows he's got about a 50-second advantage, and he will bring that car in. And he was he was 4 seconds clear of Fiducci. So whether Fiducci, unless Fiducci's done the most ridiculous lap times of all time, Siggy will be in the lead.
Well, it was a second gain on that last lap, or rather 9/10 of a second gain on the last lap for Fiducci. So eating into that time every single lap that Siggy decided to stay out there. So we'll see how close it is once Siggy comes off for the pit lane, rejoins the circuit, and that will mean that everyone has completed their pit stops, and well, the orders are exactly as you see them on the left-hand side. We don't have to try and play some mathematics and try and add the pit stop times to everyone's current time and things like that. So it will be a representative position for everyone. But yeah, where does Siggy come out in relation to everyone? He's got his tyres done, he's down off the jacks, and well, coming back out onto circuit now. There is Gianmarco Fiducci.
It's going to be close.
There is Kevin Siggy. Close, but 4 seconds close.
Yes, by the time it works itself out, it will be about 4 seconds, you're right. So it's not as close as I thought it would be. Fiducci, who absolutely was incredible during race number 1 and looked like he might be able to make a run for the lead with Siggy. Never really quite materialised, unfortunately. With 25 minutes to go, Siggy leads the way. Pfeiffer leads this group for P3, so let's keep an eye on this for a little bit. Bandit comes out with a Ric Flair woo as well. Yes, we'd love to see it. It's worthy. Ric Flair woo, I think. The DTM Esports for sure. I know Ric Flair will be absolutely loving this when he's watching this later on. I'm sure he can't watch it now because it's too early for him in America. But he'll for sure watch the replay of the DTM Esports 2022. Max Pfeiffer then. Again, driver of the day for me last week. I don't think we could give it to him this week. I think Kevin Siggy absolutely deserves that, becoming our champion. So Moritz Lohner not able to become the 2-time. It is indeed going to be 1 apiece for him and Siggy over the course of the last 3 years. Max Pfeiffer performed exceptionally well last time out for the Tailored Rig Esports, who haven't really had the craziest of championships, unfortunately for them. They would have expected a little bit more, I'm sure. But Max Pfeiffer proving that the future in this esports team is in very good hands with him, and he is just getting better and better with every single race.
Here's podium spots for the final race of the season, at least currently, and well, unless Ottaviani or Moritz Lohner have anything to say about that. But I think if you're Ottaviani at this point, due to the drama that Krippner had, and how many positions Krippner is behind at the moment, I don't think Ottaviani really wants to push the issue too much, unless he wants to risk himself getting involved in an incident that then turns the tables once again in terms of the top 5 in the championship. So I think the goal here for Ottaviani should just be, okay, I'm in my qualification spot right now. I don't need to push the issue too much. I'm just going to sit behind, even potentially, be a bit nicer to Lohner. But then again, Dirt Esports car, that could turn around and bite him in the butt a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. It really could. So it's the case you don't really want to give Lohner a snifter here, because Lohner, could potentially get ahead and then slow him down. Krippner's only 8 seconds behind. With how many laps we've got left here? Maybe 12, 13? Lohner could get ahead and slow him down by a second a lap. It becomes very, very interesting then, doesn't it? So you expect there's going to be still a twist or a turn during this, that's for sure. And actually, do you know what? I'm going to go through the list here of drivers and kind of just sort of judge their season, if you like. Kevin Siggy, I think you've got to give a 10 out of 10, right? Fiducci, you're looking at 9 out of 10. He's done what he needed to do. I'm not sure he was quite ever really in the hunt to win the championship. Max Pfeiffer's come really good before the end of this season. You're looking at him maybe a 7 out of 10, but bags of potential. Ottaviani, I think the objective would have been the top 5 from the get-go. And we go Moritz Lohner. Probably not done what he wanted to do. He came in this expecting to win the championship, never really quite materialised. Hoogveld, he probably would have expected a bit more from himself this season. It's been one of those where it's just no one has been anywhere near Kevin Siggy. And I know we probably say that quite a lot, don't we? Because he is that much of a talented driver. But there's just a little bit more for everybody else to do.
Yeah, that has felt the case for every single race, pretty much over this season. Of course, there's been blips here and there for Siggy, but by and large, it's been a relatively perfect season. And you don't often get to say that for really any driver in any esports season. They tend to be a little bit closer than this one is, at least for the top position. but you know, you certainly can't complain if you're Redline or if you're Siggy at the moment, the way things have gone. There's a good stack up back here through the pack though, just returning, you know, back to more of the racing talk. Jack Keithley, Attilia Dinya, Kripner, Hasse, Vermeulen, all within the same postcode here for the P9 through 13. So potentially we might see some action here in the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, Kripner has to. He has to make these overtakes, otherwise it is game over. He's got to be hoping that Ottaviani receives quite a big penalty. Like, for instance, if Ottaviani was to get a 10-second penalty, let's say he got 2 5-second penalties, right, for today, it would put him all the way down to P13. So he would be 2 spots behind Kripner. Kripner would actually then be our champion, or not champion, sorry, he would then be the driver that gets the top 5. So, yeah, it wouldn't have to be a huge penalty now for Kripner to still be able to go through. So, yeah, we won't find that out. They've got 24 hours to post any potential incidents to our stewards, so we won't find that officially out or anything like that. I'm sure it'll be posted out on the DTM social media tomorrow or the next day, depending on when it's officially done. We know who our champion is going to be. It really is only going to be contended about the P5, P6 spots, really, as to whether we see them at the Lausitz ring. 20 minutes to go here. Siggy's still leading, 6 seconds clear of Fiducci, absolutely gapping Fiducci now by the looks of things. 13.8 seconds behind the leaders. We see Leonard Kripner then trying to make a run here on that AMG. And as we run then down in towards turn number 1, yeah, it's close, but Keithley is just not giving you an inch of room there. Been around far too long to let an overtake happen that easily, that's for sure. He holds on to that spot, and yeah, he's doing a sensational job considering that AMG just has not been at the race this season. And I think that's one thing that we saw from the first DTM Esports season, where it was Keithley versus Lohner, wasn't it, for the whole season? The 3 cars, well, was it 2 actually, sorry, it's BMW versus Mercedes, if I'm right. Is it BMW versus Mercedes? Yeah, I guess it was. The cars were just so similar. There was not really that big of a difference between them. It's just the chassis looked a little bit different, to be fair. It's a bit more of a spec series, albeit not a spec series, if that makes any sense. With this, I don't think the balance of performance has been great this season, to be fair. I think it really is only given the opportunity for the Ferraris and the BMW. So anybody who picked the car outside of that, I just don't think had a chance. Full stop, to be honest with you. So there's a lot of drivers that are on this grid right now that absolutely will feel like they've chosen the wrong car this season. And when it comes to another season in DTM Esports, they would be able to challenge someone like Siggy. So yeah, I think the future of DTM Esports is got massive potential. I think it needs to be technically a little bit better for it to really grow into its potential. But yeah, there's a lot of drivers here that are so super quick. Bit of a mistake there, by the way, from Attilia Dinya, run a little bit wide. Kripner, he's running out of time here, 18 minutes 51 seconds. He needs to get a real hurry up here, and actually the gap now is 9 seconds between Ottaviani and Kripner. So Ottaviani will probably be looking to at least have a 10-second gap by the end of this race as we come down into turn number 1 once again. Kripner versus Keithley. Keithley is still just about going to have that nose ahead, but Kripner sweeps around the outside. And I think by the time they get through the kink of turn 2 and into turn 3, has the car fully up inside, up ahead. And as you can see there, Keithley sends one up the inside, not quite going to work out. Up the hill they come. BMW power prevails. And it's a move then for Kripner, but he would have lost a lot of time. He's got 3 cars up ahead of him. He absolutely now has to make a potential move. 4 tenths between Lohner and indeed Ottaviani. So right now, Kripner needs a bit of a favour here from Lohner. He needs Lohner to make an overtake and then slow him up.
I mean, in the process of making the overtake, he can slow him up as well. So yeah, you know, Moritz Lohner needs to turn up the heat here up against Ottaviani, even if he doesn't successfully get past. If he just tries to get an overlap down into these corners, puts Ottaviani offline, both of them will be losing a lot of time. But that doesn't really matter because Lohner, well, he can't win the championship. Mathematically impossible. So he already has that on lockdown. So why not try to help out Kripner, try to slow down Ottaviani, try and put him in a bad spot, try and force a mistake potentially from Ottaviani. It doesn't need to be a little bump to the rear, and then send the driver off, which will be a very heavily penalizable offence. But if you do put your car into a position where you're causing Ottaviani to panic potentially, you might be able to make him have his own incident.
Comes down to who would you prefer to have a beer with at the end of the day, your teammate or someone who's not your teammate. So Lohner has an opportunity here to potentially slow down Ottaviani enough for Krippner to maybe catch up. He has to make about 20 overtakes, but it is still a possibility with, what, 17 minutes to go. And at the Lausitz ring, although he will be racing in DTM Trophy, so I guess he won't be able to have any beers. That's the commentators only, I think. I'm just basically talking through my weekend. He's a driver. He actually has to act professional in the evening, so it is what it is. Florian Hasse then, well, now trying to follow suit here with his teammate Krippner, and now under pressure here from Axel Verstappen. So Verstappen, again, it's not Verstappen, guys, it's Vermeulen in P13, trying to make some moves here. Ottaviani is, well, under a significant amount of pressure. Moritz Lohner is as close as he has been all race long. As we come up there towards his right-hander, and he just seems like he cannot get that rear to really do what he wants, or maybe that's kind of what he wants the car to do. It's like a happy dog right now, wagging its tail around, like it's been given a new ball or something like that. But Moritz Lohner here, oh no, that's a mistake. That's a big mistake. He's done. He's absolutely done here. There's going to be a little bit of edging out of the circuit there, but Moritz Lohner has absolutely mugged Ottaviani off there. Ottaviani runs out wide. It only takes one mistake here. And wow, does Moritz Lohner play the team game here? Does he slow him down significantly enough to give Krippner a chance of maybe getting this done on track?
Well, that changes things somewhat, doesn't it? 15 minutes to go. Now Moritz Lohner ahead. What can he do to try and slow the pace of Ottaviani? Although Ottaviani, to be completely honest, he's been slowing his own pace at the moment with the amount of problems that he's been having over the last couple of laps. So Ottaviani, task is to get back ahead of Lohner here, not to lose too much time in doing so either. A little look to the inside through turn one, but can't commit to anything down into there. That would be a bit too overzealous, because the Ottaviani can't afford to have an instant here, although he is going to try around the outside at turn 3, up the hill. Now through turn 4, they're fighting once again here, Luke. Lohner still ahead.
Yeah, he absolutely is still ahead, but the gap now is, well, it's down to 7 seconds. As you see, a late lunge here from Ottaviani, and Lohner would not be too worried about being spun out here either. He would not be worried about Ottaviani receiving a penalty for any kind of contact as well. So this is the team game being played out here. Krippner is going to look to try and get this done on track, and he needs Moritz Lohner to help him out. Moritz Lohner is going to be in a position right now where he's completely gutted that his championship's gone. He was the DTM Esports champion for the first season we had, and he wanted to become a two-time. He's got the number 1 on his car. It's not worked out here. Kevin Siggy is absolutely the leader of this, or the winner of this second season in 2022. And now Moritz Lohner has got to get rid of that and now slow down Ottaviani significantly enough for his teammate to potentially take full advantage. They've been side by side throughout this whole lap here. Lohner knows exactly what he's doing right now. He is going to lose out here to Ottaviani, and now Ottaviani has his teammate behind of Hugveld. Hugveld needs to get ahead of Lohner and basically do exactly the same. So he needs his teammate to slow down Moritz Lohner so that he can't go out there and do it once again. Gap between Krippner and now Ottaviani is only 5 seconds. So it's come down now by 3 seconds already. 13 minutes 40 seconds to go. The battle for P5 is between Ottaviani and Krippner. Oh boy, there is still some twists and turns to come as we see a potential second move here for the position, and there's a mistake there from Ottaviani. Moritz Lohner gets it again. Oh, Connery, we're in for a grandstand finish here. We really are.
Yeah, there's the group behind them as well. The group that consists of Gassner, Pliska, and most crucially, Krippner. So, if we get one of these nose-on shots down the straights here, there we go. There's the pack behind them. That's starting to track them down now. This is going to get pretty sketchy here in the final 13 minutes because Lohner's doing everything he can to be a good teammate for Leonhard Krippner. The saving grace for Ottaviani, though, is that RAD Esports car further behind. Hugveld is a bit of a buffer zone. So Hugveld, once that train catches up to these guys, Hugveld can do the same as what Moritz Lohner's doing as Ottaviani finds the overlap coming off the corner. Another instance of side-by-side through this section for the second lap in a row. Ottaviani to the inside through this winding right-hander. Still can't quite get ahead. They're still at it.
Yeah, and Hugveld here is kind of in a double-edged sword for him here. Oh, Ottaviani runs out wide and just slides the car out across the white line. But yeah, Hugveld can't really overtake Ottaviani because ultimately then he's in huge trouble himself because he gives up a spot to his teammate. And again, Moritz Lohner's just going to slow them both down. But the gap now is, well, it's 3 seconds. So it's come down from 10 to 3 seconds. This is a Sergio Perez act from last year in Formula One. I can't remember what track it was. Was it Singapore? Might be Singapore. No, it wasn't Singapore, was it? I can't remember. But anyway, Perez held up. No, it was the last race of the season, Abu Dhabi. Held up Hamilton significantly enough for Verstappen to be right up his fart box by the end of the race. It is that close once again here. Moritz Lohner is playing the Sergio Perez role here perfectly well. He's got the 2 R8G cars in behind, and now, you know, as much as he's doing all this hard work, he needs Krippner to do the job himself here, by the way. So Krippner has to go out there and overtake Pliska, and he has to overtake Gassner, and he has to overtake Hugveld. And if you're Hugveld right now, I think you make the decision to drop back here. Let Ottaviani attack Lohner, but you drop back and you stop Krippner from being able to even catch up to Ottaviani. This is a game of cat and mouse right now. It's like a game of chess, but this is DTM Esports. This is going to come down to the wire. And it really is Moritz Lohner. Who do you want to spend your time with and have a beer with? A teammate or not a teammate? It's as simple as that. He's choosing a teammate at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the luxury of meeting Moritz in person. Last time I was out there, big defensive move to the inside there. My word, there was no way through for Ottaviani. Tries to get the traction off the corner. You can see Lohner slowing him up through these corners. Hugveld, well, he's just playing rear gunner at the moment.
Well, Krippner's got Dinya. Krippner's made the move, so he's up to P9. So he's already got one position here. He needs to get these 2. Moritz Lohner slowing them down all crazily here. Basically, if Krippner could get ahead of Ottaviani, it would still be, what was his gap coming into this? 3 points?
Yep.
So he needs to gain 3 points on Ottaviani here. And effectively, Moritz Lohner could be the buffer that gets him through. I don't know what's going to go down right now. But again, he's still got the hard job here of getting past Pliska. Pliska's not going to make it easy, for sure. Neither is Gassner. That is a fact as well. As we come down in towards turn 1 once again, Lohner takes that inside line. Ottaviani, though, with the switch back here, will have that inside line for turn number 2. And this could be perfect for R8G. Oh, there's contact between Hugveld and indeed Moritz Lohner. I think that Hugveld's gone a little bit too deep there, realistically, and tried to make something happen that was never really on. Lohner, did he close the door a little bit late? Yes, absolutely did as well. Is it going to matter for him? No, penalties aren't going to matter for him at all. He's going to finish second in this championship. He doesn't care there. But the big factor is that now they do not have the rear gunner, RAG. They do not have Hugveld in the mix here. But Ottaviani did get the position, so now it's still in his hands here in P4. Run away, Ottaviani, run away.
He has to, but remember, we've still got pending investigations. We got that whole lap 1 situation that with the Ottaviani's dive down the inside, making it 3 wide. We think he should be in the clear. He got the car stopped for the apex of the corner. There was an accusation that he pushed Hassa wide out into Krippner that caused the whole situation with Krippner going on right now, where he's on the back foot trying to make up these positions. So Lohner's done enough to potentially get Krippner within that sort of 3-second penalty gap to cause Ottaviani a big issue should a penalty apply. I don't think it will, I have to reiterate. But yeah, there's a lot of factors coming into this one. It's not just going to be the result out there on circuit, the order they come across the line. It potentially might be yet another stewards room inquiry that decides a championship for the second time in a row here in RaceRoom.
Well, luckily, it won't be for the championship.
Oh, yeah.
So Siggy, Lohner, they're good. But yeah, for P5, the final point of prize paying position, yeah, absolutely, it's on the line here, isn't it? The one thing that I think Ottaviani has got in his favour here is that Peter Pliska is Italian. So there might be a case that they will help each other out here. Just because of that, I'm not sure whether it will come down to nationalities. Right now, the last thing really that Pliska wants to do is go and, well, no, I guess he does want to go battle with Gassner. This is what Krippner needs. He needs them two to battle. He also needs another favour from Lohner to get ahead here. Every single lap that Ottaviani stays ahead is another lap where he cannot be slowed down. So Ottaviani, under the most severe amount of pressure possible by being slowed down for 3 laps, still managed to get up into the lead here. He's not cracked. He's done a sensational job, to be honest, to be still into P4 or up to P4 again. Like, that cannot be understated here, but this has been a genuine game of motorsport chess.
It has been. It's been an absolute joy to watch, and we've still got 7 minutes of it to go. So, yeah, it's not over until it's over, that's for sure. Krippner, there he is, still yet to try and find a way through on Pliska, and of course he has the bigger issue of, potential bigger issue
Moritz
with
is
Gassner.
close.
Yeah, Moritz is getting just that little bit closer once again. Ottaviani was able to gap him on that previous lap slightly, but Lona still in contention here, still can be a big factor in this one. And of course, remember, coming towards the end of the stint now, how are the tyres going to hold up?
Yeah, it is a case of about that as well. We know the Ferraris are going to be relatively good. They're just strong in every category around this circuit we found out so far today. And yeah, has under braking closed in, but it's going to run far too wide there. Again, not really in control of the car. Ottaviani is going to extend out ever so slightly once again. Krippner is absolutely, well, he's made the move here, and that looked far too easy, if I'm honest there. Although we have seen the AMG struggle in terms of pace against the BMW, but he had the slipstream of a BMW to work with there. That almost looked like Krippner's been let through there. So another favour there for Krippner. Krippner now needs to make easy work of Gassner and then potentially close up to the Lona versus Ottaviani battle and maybe take things into his own hands. He's running out of time here. 6 minutes to go. You can see that the battle is indeed happening here between Attila Dinya and Krippner. Krippner has lost, Attila Dinya and Pliska. Pliska's lost another position there from Dinya. We see another car off the circuit in the background there. I think that might have been Hoogveld or Keithley, maybe Keithley. As we see Isaac Price then into the pit. So he's done. Gassner still in behind, Moritz Lona. He's got Krippner in behind him. Is there going to be the case of the Germans looking out for each other now? Is this going to happen for Krippner? Is Krippner going to be gifted another spot here? He still needs Lona to get ahead of Ottaviani. There's 5 minutes, 30 seconds left here, but there is the possibility for there to be about 7 different race outcomes within that 5 minutes.
Yeah, the tension is certainly building up to its peak here in the final moments, not only of this final race of the season, but the season in general, of course, as well. Krippner looking to get the good run through the final corner to try and hog that slipstream all the way down the pit straight to be able to make a move on Gassner. This might be it.
Oh, what a run that is. Down towards turn number 1 we go. Gassner's not made that difficult. He has not made that difficult. Krippner's been given a freebie again. And yeah, the DTM Esports team have got a massive opportunity here. Moritz Lona is as close to Ottaviani as he has been, well, the last time he made an overtake here. So he is absolutely waiting for his opportunity. Is it a case that he sends it down in towards the hairpin in hopes that he hits the apex? He is not close enough. We are going to have maybe 3 laps remaining at the end of this one. And for me, he needs to be, well, I guess it could be a matter of corners. He needs to be ahead of Ottaviani if he can slow him down significantly enough. But I think he's going to need a good couple of laps here. Ottaviani has it in his own hands, though. That is the big factor here. That Ferrari driver has it in his own hands. If he makes another mistake here, then, of course, Moritz Lona is going to take full advantage of that. He's going to slow him down into Krippner. But if he doesn't, he just has the position. It will go to the steward's office. We've had too many incidents between Krippner and Ottaviani today, but all Ottaviani can do is just hold this position. Make sure that you are at least ahead of Krippner, because you know, oh, it's a proper late lunch here. So Ottaviani makes the mistake again. I still think that there was contact there that was initiated by Moritz as well. So I don't think Moritz there was absolutely, not a complete fault there. But I still think that Ottaviani is just struggling with the rear of the car. They are going to be side by side here, and this changes the outcome once again. Ottaviani swinging it around the outside. It will be a drag race down in towards turn number 1. But Connery, if Moritz Lona gets the lead here, Krippner will be given an opportunity to overtake on track and get ahead of Ottaviani. He needs to get 2 positions here, so you know that Moritz is probably going to let him go through as well. There is drama here in the DTM Esports 2022 finale.
Huge drama, and they're still at it side by side through the first sector. Later on the brakes goes Ottaviani. Lona has to let it go as Ottaviani gets himself back ahead. This is not done though. Look at how close that Lona's pushing him, basically physically pushing him through the corner. The Krippner's only half a second behind now. Here's another potential lunge. Oh, they're all over the place on the brakes into the left-hander. This is crazy stuff. Back end out for Moritz Lona. Remember though, this is still all in the hands of Ottaviani. Even Krippner does get past him. They'd be tied on points. However, on countback, Ottaviani will get it with 1 more second place than Krippner.
Oh, this is the epitome of DTM Esports right now. They've been working so well as a team this season. I don't have any favourites in sim racing, but I really hope Ottaviani holds this position. I think he thoroughly deserves it. He has had everything thrown at him this race so far. It's this right-hander here that he just really struggles with. I genuinely hope he hangs on to this there. They are 32 seconds behind Siggy as we see a potential late lunch once again then between the Ferrari and indeed the BMW. Where's Siggy on track right now? Exactly. Is Siggy, he's definitely crossed the line, right? So I think we are going to have, 2 laps. There's going to be 2 laps remaining of this race then. Back on board then with the battle for what is P4, but this is for the top 5 in the championship. Leonard Krippner is 3 points behind coming into this race of Ottaviani. So he needs to finish ahead, and he needs to hope that Moritz also finishes ahead here of Ottaviani, and that means that Leonard Krippner would finish in the top 5. They head down towards turn number 1 here. Moritz Lohner then is that second car of this train, and then the third car is Krippner. And well, at this stage, it's not enough for Krippner just to overtake Ottaviani. He needs to let Moritz go and then also be ahead of both of them. It's a mind-blowing scenario to be in. As Ottaviani runs wide here, that potentially could be a slowdown penalty here, Connery. As it comes down towards the hairpin, he is just about hanging on, and it's by absolutely nothing.
It's crazy, and you can see how defensive he's going into these braking zones. He's always sort of leaning towards that inside to try and close the gap, that any potential gap that Moritz Lohner might be able to find his way down and in of. But now we have a look at Kevin Siggy. He's coming towards the end of the lap here. We're going to be starting our final lap in just a couple of moments' time. Ottaviani, oh, was that mistake from Lohner? Ottaviani's now got a half a second compared to those 2 DTM Esports cars behind. That is a huge help on this final lap. There's the confirmation. Siggy, he's been fantastic all day. He's been fantastic all season. He's already the champion. But who's going to get that final DTM Trophy bootcamp spot?
Yeah, 100%. Again, great stuff from Kevin Siggy. You can't fault his performance here, but he's been so dominant this season that this final race just isn't about him, as Ottaviani makes yet another mistake. The rears of that car, and actually it might be the fronts as well here, because he just wasn't able to get the nose tucked in at all. It just really is struggling, and you see all of the cars behind now catching up. Ottaviani is in some severe trouble. Oh, wow, he's off into Narnia. He's into a different country now. I think he might have just touched the border of Spain. As we now run down towards turn 1 once again. Did he have to indeed endure a slowdown penalty? You can see the 2 DTM Esports cars here as Moritz Lohner will go side by side. This is going to slow him down significantly enough here for Krippner to maybe make a lunge here. And if Ottaviani is to indeed be in the top 5 of the championship, he has to finish ahead of both of these drivers here. He cannot afford to lose one position. If he loses out to Moritz Lohner, Lohner is going to slow him down enough for Krippner to overtake both of them. You can bet your bottom dollar as they come then down in towards the hairpin here. Moritz Lohner trying to find a gap up the inside. There is contact between the 2 of them, but Ottaviani is going to have that outside line. He will be ushered out wide. The room is left, actually, to be fair. Ottaviani, with all the pressure in the world, is still hanging on. Krippner is up then into the position here to try and attack Ottaviani, but it will not be enough. He needs to hope his teammate gets through as well. Through the right-hander, up the hill we come. We're coming up towards the highest point of the circuit here. Kevin Siggy's going to win this race. Fiduci's going to finish in second spot. It will be Max Pfeiffer in third position. A podium then for the young German in third spot. But it's all about Ottaviani. It's all about Krippner. It's all about Moritz Lohner. This is the worst corner on the track for Ottaviani so far. Historically, during this race, has struggled. He's negotiated it there for the final time. Through the left-hander we go. And it is merely 2 right-handers for him to hold on to this position. If he holds on, he has the net point worth to go through. There may be some stewards' inquiries, but he's done everything he needs to do. Moritz Lohner is round the wrong way, so even if Krippner gets ahead of him, it's not going to be enough. Ottaviani has had everything thrown at him today, including the full works from the DTM Esports team. But the Italian Ferrari Esports will hang on. He will be P4, and he will be in the top 5 in the championship, pending some stewards' inquiries. That is an outstanding drive from the Italian.
I was on my feet for that final lap, my word. That was crazy, crazy stuff. Ottaviani, well, he's done it on circuit. All that he needs to do, we just need the confirmation from the stewards as well. Of course, there might be appeals after this one as well, so it might be a day or so before we get everything sorted out. But my word, That was crazy. That was one of the most intense final couple of laps that we've ever had in the DTM Esports season. For any year that we've done this. Kevin Siggy takes the race win, and of course it's been a perfect day for the Team Redline driver and a perfect season for him. He is your DTM Esports 2022 champion. But wow, that was a great display going on behind of some great racing. Yes, it was intense. Yes, there were some bumps and there were some pushes here and there, but that was entertaining.
Yeah, a lot of drivers played their part in that. Christopher Hugveld played a massive part in that earlier on in this race, where he really did. He gave Ottaviani the opportunity. He said, look, you go ahead of me. You go and see what you can do. If he doesn't do that, Ottaviani's not in a position he is to defend that position at the end. He's not even, he will be behind Lona. So it would have made it so much more difficult at an earlier stage of that race. So yeah, the R8G outfit have played their part there. I think the most impressive driver, as much as Ottaviani was under some severe pressure, and it's very, he is driver of the day for me. Max Pfeiffer, what a performance there for the AMG. The Mercedes has looked so slow at Portimão specifically, and he's dragged that car to a podium. The guy has been on tip-top form at the Red Bull Ring and indeed Portimão. Incredible stuff from him. But Kevin Siggy is your DTM Esports 2022 champion. Oh, we are going to get the official point standings for you at home. I'm sweating. This pink shirt's going to go into retirement. It's for a good couple of weeks. Going to need to be dry cleaned, the works, because that was so super exciting. We're going to head to a very short commercial break. Then we'll have the points for you, and we can tell you exactly how it stands, pending some stewards' inquiries. Oh boy, what an event we've had.
Auto Hero ist dein Online-Shop für Gebrauchtwagen. Wir verkaufen nur Autos aus unserem eigenen Bestand. Jedes ist von unseren Kfz-Experten general überholt und rundum aufbereitet. Und du erhältst 1 Jahr Garantie. So unbeschwert kann Autokauf sein. Finde jetzt dein Auto bei Auto Hero.
Well, here you have it then, ladies and gentle cars. Here is your official standings as it stands. It's as simple as that, though, really. I'm running out of words and gas and all sorts. Kevin Siggy is officially the champion of the DTM Esports Championship 2022. A full 100 points clear of Moritz Lohner. And do you know what? That doesn't lie. He absolutely deserves that kind of gap. He has been so strong. Moritz Lohner, he finishes in second spot then with 366. He got the consolidation of the fact that he will be driving the DTM trophy this season anyway. But he just wasn't able to go 2 for 2. Still P2 though. And in 2 seasons of DTM Esports, he has finished, well, first and second. Not a bad record to have. Gianmarco Fiducci then finishes there with 293 points in third. And Alessandro Ottaviani has actually jumped ahead of Florian Hasser then, with Hasser not having the greatest race. And all of a sudden, it was actually between Hasser and Krippner then for that final position. I didn't see that coming. So Ottaviani comfortably in there. Again, this is pending any potential stewards inquiries. And then we've got Leonard Krippner, who is on 245 points, unfortunately, just outside that top 5. Max Pfeiffer then in 7th. Jack Keithley in 8th. Christopher Hugveld in 9th. And then Isaac Price just manages to get himself into that top 10 position. Connery, what an incredible season we have had this season. Kevin Siggy absolutely deserves it. Is there anybody in that list there that stands out to you as a potential surprise? Looking forward to maybe 2023 season of DTM Esports. Is there someone in there that could really come up and go, do you know what? I'm going to reach that next level now. I'm going to become a DTM Esports champion.
I mean, you gave him a shout out during the race. Pfeiffer's come on leaps and bounds over the course of the season, especially towards the back end of it. There's no reason why he can't get up there and try to fight for a potential top 5 at the end of next season, potentially, or any season that he does for RaceRoom Esports. So he's looking very, very good. Of course, it's great to see the dual Italians, the Fiducci and Ottaviani, get themselves a good run here in this DTM Esports Championship. Of course, we were focusing on Ottaviani for the entirety of that final race with his fight with Krippner, but Fiducci has also been very, very, very strong this season as well. So it's good to see those names towards the very top of the order, but I would have to say, potentially Pfeiffer, P7 in this series, not too bad, and I don't think we would have really expected him to finish P7 coming into this season.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. DTM Esports 2022 is done and dusted. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, Connery. It's been an incredible championship to work with. So thank you to all of the people in the background, especially you, Connery, to all of the producers, to all of the sponsors of the event, to DTM themselves putting on the event and giving sim racing and esports a genuine opportunity of making it towards the real world of motorsport. So yeah, thank you from us, but we've got one final thank you, and that's from the boss.
I want to say some words. Thank you. Actually, thank you to all of you guys, because you made this championship that great. The DTM Esports series is very important for us, and you are actually behind the wheels and show your performance and the outstanding races. So I'm really looking forward for the boot camp now, and I'm very happy to see one of you in next year's DTM Trophy season 2023.